The Broadway Theatre Archive.
If I could be any one of us.
Well, not a real one.
Don't you dare say I'm dependent upon you, because I'm not.
Truly speak to you
of all the pain.
No good role with this actor.
A woman who cannot keep her lusts under control.
A collection of comedy and drama available on videocassette. BroadwayArchive.com.
Theater in America, a series of great performances produced especially for television in collaboration with America's outstanding theater companies. Hello, I'm Hal Holbrook. Welcome to Theater in America. Over 350 years ago, William Shakespeare wrote for his own company, and his plays were very, very popular with the crowds. People came to the Globe Theater. They bought fruit from the orange girls, pinched them, drank, talked, and saw the show. Outside in New York's Central Park, Joe Papp has been giving his audiences the same kind of theatrical experience since 1958. After a picnic or maybe a look at the trees, the public can settle down to a free performance by some of the best actors in town. Tonight's production of King Lear was taped during an actual performance. The actors are heard against a background of city noises, horns, jet planes flying overhead, and what emerges is a genuine theatrical event. Shakespeare's tragedy of pride, greed, and treachery speaks to the modern American audience in very, very contemporary terms.
Since early afternoon, the audience has been gathering.
We'll pick up the tickets. Tickets are one per person in line.
The crew has been readying the stage. As evening approaches, the actors leave the 20th century and become members of a royal court.
Two more, step through. And another two, step through. The last one will pick them up.
James Earl Jones transforms himself into the king.
Blow. You cataracts and hurricanes stopped. Till you have drenched our steeples, drowned the cocks. You sulphurous and thought-executing fires, vaunted couriers of oak-cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head. Thou all-shaking thunder, strike flat the thick rotundity of the world. No, I will be the pattern of all patience. I will say nothing. Let the great gods that keep this dreadful pudder o'er our heads find out their enemies now. Tremble, thou wretch that hast within thee undivulged crimes, unwhipped of justice. Hide thee, thou bloody hand, thou perjured and thou singular of virtue that art incestuous. Caitiff to pieces shake that under covert and convenient seeming is practiced on man's life. Close pent-up guilts rive your concealing countenance and cry these dreadful summoners' grace. I am a man more sinned against than sinning.
Joseph Papp, producer of the New York Shakespeare Festival.
Many of the fine actors you'll see tonight, the leading performers, have appeared in as many plays of Shakespeare on this stage here in Central Park. So it is quite an event. Tonight's performance is like any other performance. It's live, with a very lively audience, I gather, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
I thought the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall.
It did always seem so to us, but now in the division of the kingdom it appears not which of the dukes he values most.
Is not this your son, my lord?
His breeding, sir, hath been at my charge. I have so often blushed to acknowledge him that now I am braced to it.
I cannot conceive you.
Sir, this young fellow's mother could, whereupon she grew round-wombed and had indeed, sir, a son for her cradle ere she had a husband for her bed. Do you smell a fault?
I cannot wish the fault undone, the issue of it being so proper.
But I have a son, sir, by order of law, some year elder than this, who yet is no dearer in my account. Though this knave came something saucily to the world before he was sent for, yet was his mother fair. There was good sport at his making, and the whore son must be acknowledged. Do you know this noble gentleman, Edmund?
No, my lord.
My lord of Kent. Remember him hereafter as my honorable friend.
My services to your lordship.
I must love you and sue to know you better.
I shall study deserving.
He hath been out 9 years, and away he shall again. The king is coming.
Attend the lords of France and Burgundy, Gloucester.
I shall, my lord.
Meantime, we shall express our darker purpose. Give me the map. Know that we have divided in three our kingdom, and 'tis our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strengths, while we, unburdened, crawl toward death. Our son of Cornwall, and you, our no less loving son of Albany, we have this hour a constant will to publish our daughter's several dowers, that future strife may be prevented now. The princes, France and Burgundy, great rivals in our youngest daughter's love, long in our court have made their amorous sojourn, and here are to be answered. Tell me, my daughters, since now we will divest us both of rule, interest of territory, cares of state, which of you, shall we say, doth love us most, that we our largest bounty may extend when nature doth with merit challenge? Goneril, eldest born, speak first.
Sir, I love you more than word can wheel the matter. Dearer than eyesight, space, and liberty. Beyond what can be valued, rich or rare. No less than life, with grace, health, beauty, honor. As much as child e'er loved or father found. A love that makes breath poor and speech unable. Beyond all manner of so much, I love you.
What shall Cordelia speak? Love and be silent.
Of all these bounds, even from this line to this, with shadowy forests and with champaigns reached, with plenteous rivers and wide-skirted meads, we make thee, lady. To thine and Albany's issues be this perpetual. What says our second daughter, our dearest Regan, wife of Cornwall?
I am made of that self-metal as my sister, and prize me at her worth. In my true heart I find she names my very deed of love, only she comes too short. That I profess myself an enemy to all other joys, which the most precious square of sense possesses, and find I am alone felicited in your dear highness's love.
Then poor Cordelia, and yet not so, since I am sure my love's more ponderous than my tongue.
Today in thine hereditary ever remain this ample third of our fair kingdom, no less in space, validity, and pleasure than that conferred on Goneril. Now, our joy, although our last and least, to whose young love the vines of France and milk of Burgundy strive to be interest. What can you say to draw a third more opulent than your sisters? Speak!
Nothing, my lord.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing will come of nothing. Speak again.
Unhappy that I am, I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I love your majesty according to my bond, no more nor less.
How? Cordelia, mend your speech a little, lest you may mar your fortunes.
Good, my lord. You have begot me, bred me, loved me. I return those duties back as our right fit. Obey you, love you, and most honor you. Why have my sisters husbands if they say they love you all? Haply when I shall wed, the lord whose hand must take my plight shall carry half my love with him, half my care and duty. Sure, I shall never marry like my sisters to love my father all.
What goes thy heart with this?
I, my good lord?
So young and so untender.
So young, my lord, and true.
Let it be so. Thy truth, then, be thy hour! For by the sacred radiance of the sun, the mysteries of Hecate and the night, by all the operation of the orbs, from whom we do exist and cease to be, here I disclaim all my paternal care, propinquity, and property of blood, and as a stranger to my heart and me, hold thee from this forever. Ah, the barbarous Chilean! For he that makes his generation messes to gorge his appetite shall to my bosom be as well neighbored, pitied, and relieved as thou, my sometime daughter. Good my liege! Kent! Come not between the dragon and his wrath. I loved her most, and thought to set my rest on her kind nursery, hence and avoid my sight. So be my grave, my peace, as here I give her father's heart from her. Call France. Who stirs? Call Burgundy, Cornwall, and Albany. With my two daughters' dowers, digest the third. Let pride, which she calls plainness, marry her. I do invest you jointly with my power, preeminence, and all the large effects that troop with majesty, ourself by monthly course, with reservation of 100 nights by you to be sustained, shall our abode make with you by due turn only. We shall retain the name, and all the addition to a king, sway, revenue, execution of the rest, beloved sons, be yours, which to confirm this coronet part between you.
Royal Lear, whom I have ever honored as my king, loved as my father, as my master followed, as my great patron thought on in my prayers.
The bow is bent and drawn. Make from the shaft.
Let it fall, rather. though the fork invade the region of my heart. Be Kent unmannerly when Lear's mad. What wouldst thou do, old man? Think'st thou that duty shall have dread to speak when power to flattery bows? To plainness honor's bound when majesty falls to folly. Reserve thy state. In thy best consideration, check this hideous rashness. Answer my life, my judgment. Thy youngest daughter does not love thee least, nor are those empty-hearted whose low sounds reverb no hollowness.
Yes. And thy life no more.
My life I never held but as a pawn to wage against thine enemies, nor fear to lose it, thy safety being motive.
Out of my sight!
See better, Lear, let me still remain the true blank of thine eye.
Now, by Apollo!
Now, by Apollo, king, thou swearest thy gods in vain.
Vassal miscreant!
Kill thy physician, and thy fee bestow upon the foul disease. Revoke thy gift, or whilst I can bend clamor from my throat, I'll tell thee thou dost evil.
Hear me, recreant, on thine allegiance. Hear me, that thou hast sought to make us break our vows, which we durst never yet, and with strange pride to come betwixt our sentence and our power, which nor our nature nor our place can bear. Our potency made good, take thy reward. 5 days we do allot thee for provision to shield thee from disasters of the world, and on the 6th, to turn thy hated back upon our kingdom. If on the 10th day following thy banished trunk be found in our dominions, the moment is thy death. Away! By Jupiter, this shall not be revoked.
Fare thee well, king. Since thus thou wilt appear, freedom lives hence, and banishment is here. The gods to their dear shelter take thee maid, that justly think'st, and hast most rightly said. And your large speeches may your deeds approve, that good effects may follow words of love. Thus Kent, O princes, bid you all adieu. He'll shape his old course in a country new.
Here's France and Burgundy, my noble lord.
My lord of Burgundy, we first address toward you, who with this king hath rivaled for our daughter. What in the least will you require in present dower with her, or cease your quest of love?
Most royal majesty, I crave no more than hath your highness offered, nor will you tender less.
Right noble Burgundy, when she was dear to us, we did hold her so, but now her price is fallen. Sir, there she stands. If aught within that little seeming substance, or all of it, with our displeasure pieced and nothing more, may fitly like your grace, she's there and she's yours.
I know no answer.
Will you, with those infirmities she owns, unfriended, new adopted to our hate, dowered with our curse, and strangered with our oath, take her or leave her?
Pardon me, royal sir. Election makes not up on such conditions.
Then leave her, sir. For by the power that made me, I tell you all her wealth. For you, great king, I would not from your love make such a stray to match you where I hate. Therefore beseech you to avert your liking a more worthier way than on a wretch whom nature is ashamed almost to acknowledge hers.
This is most strange, that she whom even but now was your best object, the argument of your praise, the balm of your age, the best, the dearest, should in this trice of time commit a thing so monstrous to dismantle so many folds of favor.
I yet beseech your majesty, if for I want that glib and oily art to speak and purpose not, since what I well intend, I'll do it before I speak, that you make known, it is no vicious blot, murder, or foulness, no unchaste action or dishonored step that hath deprived me of your grace and favor, but even for want of that for which I am richer, a still soliciting eye, and such a tongue that I am glad I have not, though not to have it hath lost me in your liking.
Better thou hast not been born than not to have pleased me better.
Is it but this, a tardiness in nature which often leaves the history unspoke that it intends to do? My lord of Burgundy, what say you to the lady? Love's not love when it is mingled with regards that stands aloof from the entire point. Will you have her? She is herself a dowry.
Royal king, give me but that portion which you yourself propose, and here I take Cordelia by the hand. Duchess of Burgundy.
Nothing. I've sworn. I'm firm.
I am sorry that you have so lost a father that you must lose a husband.
Peace be with Burgundy. Since that respects of fortune or his love, I shall not be his wife.
Fairest Cordelia, that art most rich being poor, most choice forsaken, and most loved despised. Thee and thy virtues here I seize upon. Be it lawful I take up what's cast away. Gods, 'tis strange that from their coldest neglect my love should kindle to inflamed respect. Thy dowerless daughter, king, thrown to my chance, is queen of us, of ours, and our fair France. Not all the dukes of waterish Burgundy could buy this unprized precious maid of me. Bid them farewell, Cordelia, the one kind. Thou losest here a better way to find.
Thou hast her, France. Let her be thine. For we have no such daughter, nor shall ever see that face of hers again. Therefore be gone, without our grace, our love, our benison. Come, noble Burgundy.
Bid farewell to your sisters.
The jewels of our father with washed eyes, Cordelia leaves you. I know you what you are, and like a sister, am most loath to call your faults as they are named. Love well our father, to your professed bosoms I commit him, but alas, stood I within his grace, I would prefer him to a better place, so farewell to you both.
Prescribe not us our duty.
Let your study be to content your lord who hath received you at fortune's alms. You have obedience scanted and well worth the want that you have wanted.
Time shall unfold what plighted cunning hides, who covers faults at last with shame derides. Well may you prosper.
Come, my fair Cordelia.
Sister, it is not little I have to say of what most nearly appertains to us both. I think our father will hence tonight.
'Tis most certain, and with you, next month with us.
You see how full of changes his age is. The observation we have made of it hath not been little. He always loved our sister most, and with what poor judgment he hath now cast her off appears too grossly.
'Tis the infirmity of his age. Yet he hath always but slenderly known himself.
The best and soundest of his time hath been but rash.
Such unconstant starts are we like to have from him as this of Kent's banishment.
Pray you, let us hit together. If our father carry authority with such disposition as he bears, this last surrender of his will but offend us.
We shall further think of it.
We must do something and eat the heat.
Thou, nature, art my goddess. To thy law my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me? For that I am some 12 or 14 moonshines lag of a brother? Why bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as honest madam's issue? Why brand they us with base, with baseness, bastardy, base, who in the lusty stealth of nature take more composition and fierce quality than doth within a dull, stale, tired bed go to the creating a whole tribe of fops? Got to in a sleep and wake? Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is to the bastard Edmund as to the legitimate. Fine word, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, if this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the base shall top the legitimate. I grow, I prosper. Now, gods, stand up for bastards.
Kent vanished thus, and France in choler parted. And the king gone tonight, prescribed his power, confined to exhibition, all this done upon the gad. Edmund, how now, what news?
So please your lordship, none.
Why so earnestly seek you to put up that letter?
I know no news, my lord.
What paper were you reading?
Nothing, my lord.
No? What needed then that terrible dispatch of it into your pocket? The quality of nothing hath not such need to hide itself. Come, let's see. If it be nothing, I shall not need spectacles.
I beseech you, sir, pardon me. It is a letter from my brother that I have not all read, and for so much as I have perused, I find it not fit for your looking.
Oh! Give me the letter, sir.
I hope for my brother's justification he wrote this but as an essay or taste of my virtue.
This policy and reverence of age makes the world bitter to the best of our times, keeps our fortunes from us till our oldness cannot relish them. I begin to find an idle and fond bondage in the oppression of aged tyranny, who sways not as it hath power, but as it is suffered. Come to me, that of this I may speak more. If our father would sleep till I waked him, you should enjoy half his revenue forever, and live the beloved of your brother Edgar. Conspiracy? Sleep till I waked him, you should enjoy half his revenue? My son Edgar? Had he a hand to write this, a heart and brain to breed it in? When came you to this? Who brought it?
It was not brought me, my lord. There's the cunning of it. I found it thrown in at the casement of my chamber.
You know the character to be your brother's?
If the matter were good, my lord, I dare swear it were his, but in respect of that, I would fain think it were not.
It is his.
It is his hand, my lord, but I hope his heart is not in the contents.
Has he never before sounded you in this business?
Never, my lord. But I've heard him oft maintain it to be fit that sons at perfect age and fathers decline, the father should be as war to the son, and the son manage his revenue.
Oh, villain. Villain! His very opinion in the letter. Abhorred villain. Unnatural, detested, brutish villain. Worse than Brutus. Go, Sirrah, seek him. I'll apprehend him. An abominable villain, where is he?
I do not well know, my lord. It shall please you to suspend your indignation till you can derive from him better testimony of his intent. You should run a certain course where if you violently proceed against him, mistaking his purpose, it would make a great gap in your own honor and shake in pieces the heart of his obedience. I dare pawn down my life for him that he has writ this to feel my affection to your honor and to no other pretense of danger.
Think you so?
If your honor judge it meet, I will place you where you shall hear us confer of this, and by an auricular assurance have your satisfaction, and that without any further delay than this very evening.
He cannot be such a monster.
That is not sure.
To his father, that so tenderly and entirely loves him. Edmund, seek him out. Wind me into him, I pray you. Frame the business after your own wisdom. I would unstate myself to be in a due resolution.
I will seek him, sir, presently. Convey the business as I shall find means and acquaint you withal.
These late eclipses of the sun and moon portend no good to us. Though the wisdom of nature can reason it thus and thus, yet nature finds itself scourged by the sequent effects. Love cools, friendship falls off, brothers divide. In cities, mutinies, in countries, discord, in palaces, treason, and the bond cracked twixt son and father. This villain of mine comes under the prediction. There's son against father. The king falls from bias of nature. There's father against child. We have seen the best of our time. Machinations, hollowness, treachery, and all ruinous disorders follow us disquietly to our graves. Find out this villain, Edmund. It shall lose thee nothing. Do it carefully. And the noble and true-hearted Kent banished his offense. Honesty, 'tis strange.
This is the excellent foppery of the world, that when we're sick in fortune, often the surfeits of our own behavior, we make guilty of our disasters the sun, the moon, and stars. As if we were villains on necessity, fools by heavenly compulsion, knaves, thieves, and treacherers by spherical predominance, drunkards, liars, and adulterers by an enforced obedience of planetary influence, and all that we are evil in by a divine thrusting on. An admirable evasion of home master man to lay his goatish disposition on the charge of a star. My father compounded with my mother under the dragon's tail, and my nativity was under Ursa Major, so that it follows that I am rough and lecherous. I would have been that I am had the maidenliest star in the firmament twinkled on my bastardizing. Edgar, and pat he comes like the catastrophe of the old comedy. My cue is villainous melancholy with a sigh like Tom o' Bedlam. Oh, 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 these eclipses do portend these divisions far so la me.
How now, Brother Edmund, what serious contemplation are you in?
I am thinking, brother, of a prediction I read this other day, what should follow these eclipses.
Do you busy yourself with that?
I promise you the effects he writes of succeed unhappily as of unnaturalness between the child and the parent, death, dearth, disillusions of ancient amities, divisions in state, menaces and maledictions against king and nobles, needless diffidences, banishment of friends, dissipation of cohorts, nuptial breaches, and I know not what.
How long have you been a sectary astronomical?
Come, come, when saw you my father last?
The night gone by.
Spake you with him?
Aye, 2 hours together.
Parted you in good terms, found you no displeasure in him by word nor countenance?
None at all.
Bethink yourself, wherein you may have offended him, and at my entreaty forbear his presence till some little time hath qualified the heat of his displeasure, which at this instant so rageth in him that with the mischief of your person it would scarcely allay.
Some villain hath done me wrong.
That's my fear. I pray you have a continent forbearance till the speed of his rage go slower, and as I say, retire with me to my lodging, from whence I will fitly bring you to hear my lord speak. Pray you go, there's my key. If you do stir abroad, go armed.
Armed, brother?
Brother, I advise you to the best. Go armed. I am no honest man if there be any good meaning toward you. I've told you what I've seen and heard, but faintly nothing like the image and horror of it. Pray you away.
Shall I hear from you anon?
I do serve you in this business. A credulous father and a brother noble, whose nature is so far from doing harms that he suspects none, on whose foolish honesty my practices ride easy. I see the business. Let me, if not by birth, have lands by wit. All with me's meet that I can fashion fit.
Did my father strike my gentleman for chiding of his fool?
Aye, madam.
By day and night he wrongs me. Every hour he flashes into one gross crime or other that sets us all at odds. I'll not endure it. His nights grow riotous, and himself upbraids us on every trifle. When he returns from hunting, I will not speak with him. Say I am sick. If you come slack of former services, you shall do well. The fault of it I'll answer.
He's coming, madam. I hear him.
Put on what weary negligence you please, you and your fellows. I'd have it come to question. If he distaste it, let him to my sister, whose mind and mine I know, and that are one, not to be overruled. Idle old man that would still manage those authorities that he hath given away. Remember what I have said.
Well, madam.
And let his knights have colder looks among you. What grows of it, no matter. Advise your fellows so. I would breed from hence occasion, and I shall, that I may speak. I'll write straight to my sister to hold my course. Prepare for dinner.
But as well I other accents borrow that can my speech diffuse. My good intent may follow through itself to that full issue for which I raised my likeness. Now, banished Kent, If thou canst serve where thou dost stand condemned, so may it come thy master whom thou lovest shall find thee full of labors.
Let me not stay a jot for dinner. Go get it ready. And now, what art thou?
Man, sir.
What dost thou profess? What wouldst thou with us?
I do profess to be no less than I seem. To serve him truly that will put me in trust, to love him that is honest, to converse with him that is wise and says little, to fear judgment, to fight when I cannot choose, and to eat no fish.
What art thou?
Very honest-hearted fellow, sir, and as poor as the king.
If thou beest as poor for a subject as he's for a king, thou art poor enough. What wouldst thou?
Service.
Who wouldst thou serve? You. Oh, dost thou know me, fellow?
No, sir, but you have that in your countenance I would fain call master.
What's that?
Authority.
What services canst thou do?
I can keep honest counsel, ride, run, mar a curious tale in telling it, deliver a plain message bluntly. That which ordinary men are fit for, I am qualified in. And the best of me is diligence.
How old art thou?
Not so young, sir, to love a woman for singing, nor so old to dote on her for anything. I have years on my back, 48.
Follow me, thou shalt serve me. If I like thee no worse after dinner, I will not part with thee yet. Dinner! Oh! Dinner! Where's my knave, my fool? Go you, call my fool hither. You, Sarah, where's my daughter?
Oh, so please you,
What says the fellow there? Call the clock toll back. Where's my fool? Ho! I think the world's asleep. Ah, now, where's that mongrel?
He says, my lord, your daughter is not well.
Why came not the slave back to me when I called him?
Sir, he answered me in the roundest manner he would not.
He would not.
My lord, I know not what the matter is, but to my judgment, your highness is not entertained with that ceremonious affection as you were wont. There's a great abatement of kindness appears as well in the general dependents as in the Duke himself also and your daughter.
Ah, say'st thou so?
I beseech you pardon me, my lord, if I be mistaken, for my duty cannot be silent when I think your highness wrong.
Thou but rememberest me of mine own conception. I have perceived a most faint neglect of late. I will look further into it. But where's my fool? I've not seen him this 2 days.
Since my young lady's going into France, sir, the fool hath much pined away.
No more of that! I have noted it well. Go you. Tell my daughter I would speak with her. Go you, call hither my fool. Oh. You, sir, you. Come you hither, sir. Who am I, sir?
My lady's father.
My lady's father? My lord's knave! You horse and dog, you slave, you cur!
I have none of these, my lord. I beseech your pardon.
You bandit, looks with me, you rascal!
I'll not be struck in, my lord!
Oh, tripped either, you base football player! Come, sir, arise! Away, sir! Away! Away! You will naturally your lover's length again!
My friendly knave, I thank thee. There's earnest of thy service.
Let me hire him too. Here's my coxcomb.
How now, my pretty knave? How dost thou?
Sirrah, thou wouldst best take my coxcomb.
Why, fool?
Why? For taking one's part that's out of favor. Nay, and thou canst not smile as the wind sits. Thou'll catch cold shortly. There, take my coxcomb. Why, this fellow has banished 2 one's daughters. Did the 3rd a blessing against his will. If thou follow him, thou must needs wear my coxcomb. So, how now, Knuckle? Would I had 2 coxcombs and 2 daughters.
Why, my boy?
If I gave them all my living, I'd keep my coxcombs myself. There's mine. Beg another of thy daughters.
Take heed, sirrah. The whip.
Truth's a dog must a kennel. He must be whipped out, while Lady the bitch may stand by the fire and stink.
A pestilent gall to me.
Sarah, I'll teach thee a speech.
Do.
Mark it, Knuckle. Have more than thou showest. Speak less than thou knowest. Lend less than thou owest. Ride more than thou goest. Leave thy drink and thy whore, and keep in a door, and thou shalt have more than 2 tens to a score.
This is nothing, fool.
It is like the breath of an unfeed lawyer. You gave me nothing for it. Can you make no use of nothing, Uncle?
What? No, boy. Nothing can be made out of nothing.
Prithee tell him so much the rent of his land comes to, he'll not believe a fool.
Ah, bitter fool.
Dost thou know the difference, my boy, between a bitter fool and a sweet one?
No, lad. Teach me.
That lord that counseled thee to give away thy land, come place him here by me, do thou for him stand. The sweet and bitter fool will presently appear, the one in motley here, the other found out there.
Dost thou call me fool, boy?
All thy other titles thou hast given away, that thou wast born with.
This is not altogether fool, my lord.
No. Faith, lords and great men will not let me. If I had a monopoly out, they would have part on it. And ladies, too. They'll not let me have all the fool to myself. They'll be snatching. Nuncle, give me an egg. And I will give thee 2 crowns.
What 2 crowns shall they be?
Well, when I've cut the egg in the middle and eat up the meat, the 2 crowns of the egg. When thou clovest thy crown in the middle and gavest away both parts, thou borest thine ass on thy back o'er the dirt. Thou hadst little wit in thy bald crown when thou gavest the golden one away. If I speak like myself in this, let him be whipped that first finds it so. Fools had ne'er less grace in a year, for wise men are grown foppish, and know not how their wits to wear, their manners are so apish.
When were you wont to be so full of songs, sirrah?
Well, I have used it, Nuncle, ever since thou madest thy daughters thy mothers. For when thou gavest them the rod and putst down thine own breeches, then they for sudden joy did weep, and I for sorrow sung, that such a king should play bo peep and go the fools among. Prithee, Knuckle, keep a schoolmaster that can teach thy fool to lie. I would fain learn to lie.
And you lie, sirrah. We will have you whipped.
I marvel what kin thou and thy daughters are. They'll have me whipped for speaking true. Thou'lt have me whipped for lying. Sometimes I'm whipped for holding my peace. I'd rather be any kind of thing than a fool. And yet, I would not be thee, Nuncle. Thou hast pared thy wit on both sides and left nothing in the middle. Here comes one of the pairings.
How now, daughter? What makes that frontlet on? You are too much of late in the frown.
Thou wast a pretty fellow when thou hadst no need to care for her frowning. Now thou art an O without a figure. I'm better than thou art now. I'm a fool. Thou art nothing. Yes, forsooth, I will hold my tongue, so your face bids me, though you say nothing. Mum, mum. He that keeps nor crust nor crumb, weary of all, shall want some. That's a shelled peace god.
Not only, sir, this your all-licensed fool, but other of your insolent retinue do hourly cough and quarrel, breaking forth in rank and not to be endured riots. Sir, I had thought by making this well known unto you to have found a safe redress, but now grow fearful by what yourself too late have spoke and done, that you protect this course and put it on by your allowance.
Before you know, Nuncle, the hedge sparrow fed the cuckoo so long that it had its head bit off by it young. So out went the candle and we were left darkling.
Are you our daughter?
I would you would make use of your good wisdom whereof I know you are fraught, and put away these dispositions which of late transport you from what you rightly are.
You're not an ass, no, when the cart draws the horse. John, I love thee.
Does any here know me? This is not Lear. Does Lear walk thus, speak thus? Where are his eyes? Either his notion weakens, his discernings are lethargic. Waking, 'tis not so. Who is it can tell me who I am?
Lear's shadow.
I would learn that, for by the marks of sovereignty, knowledge, and reason, I should be false persuaded I had daughters.
Which they will make an obedient father.
Your name, fair gentlewoman?
This admiration, sir, is much of the savor of other your new pranks. I do beseech you to understand my purposes aright. As you are old and reverend, should be wise. Here do you keep 100 knights and squires, men so disordered, so debauched and bold, that this our court, infected with their manners, shows like a riotous inn. Epicurism and lust makes it more like a tavern or a brothel than a graced palace. Shame itself doth speak for instant remedy. Be then desired by her that else will take the thing she begs, a little to disquantity your train, and the remainder that shall still depend to be such men as may besort your age who know themselves and you.
Darkness and devils, saddle my horses, call my train together. Degenerate bastard! I'll not trouble thee, yet have I left a daughter.
You strike my people, and your disordered rabble make servants of their betters.
Woe that too late repents. Is it your will? Speak, sir! Prepare my horses! Ingratitude, thou marble-hearted fiend, more hideous when thou showst thee in a child than the sea monster.
Pray, sir, be patient.
Detested kite, thou liest. My train are men of choice and rarest parts that all particulars of duty know, and in the most exact regard support the worships of their name. Ah, most small fault. How ugly didst thou in Cordelia show, which like an engine wrenched my frame of nature from the fixed place, drew from my heart all love and added to the gall. Oh, Lear, 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 beat at this gate that let thy folly in and thy dear judgment out. Go! Go, my people!
My lord, I am guiltless as I am ignorant of what has moved you.
It may be so, my lord. Here, nature, here, dear goddess, here. Suspend thy purpose if thou didst intend to make this creature fruitful. Into her womb convey sterility. Dry up in her the organs of increase, and from her delicate body never spring a babe to honor her. If she must teem, create her child of spleen, that it may live and be athwart this nature torment to her. Let it stamp wrinkles in her brow of youth, with cadent tears, fret channels in her cheeks, turn all her mother's pains and benefits to laughter and contempt, that she may feel how sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. Away, away.
Oh, God, that we adore, whereof comes this?
Never afflict yourself to know more of it, but let his disposition have that scope as dotage gives it.
What? 50 of my followers at a clap within a fortnight.
What's the matter, sir?
I'll tell thee. Life and death. Oh, I am ashamed that thou hast power to shake my manhood thus, that these hot tears which break from me perforce should make thee worth them. Old fond eyes, beweep this cause again, I'll pluck ye out and cast you with the waters that you lose to temper clay. Yea, as it come to this, let it be so. I have another daughter, who I am sure is kind and comfortable. When she shall hear this of thee, with her nails shall flay thy wolvish visage, thou shalt find that I'll resume the shape which thou dost think I have cast off forever.
Do you mark that?
I cannot be so partial, Goneril, to the great love I bear you.
Pray you content. What's Oswald, ho! You, sir, more knave than fool, after your master.
Knuckle Lear, tarry! Take the fool with thee. A fox, when one has caught her, and such a daughter, should sure to the slaughter. If my cap could buy a halter, so the fool follows after.
Yeah. This man has had good counsel 100 nights. 'Tis politic and safe to let him keep at point 100 nights. Yes, that on every dream, each buzz, each fancy complaint, he may enguard his dotage with their powers and hold our lives in mercy. Oswald, I say.
Well, you may fear too far.
Safer than trust too far. Let me still take away the harms I fear, not fear still to be taken. I know his heart. What he hath uttered, I have writ my sister. If she sustain him in his 100 nights after I have showed the unfitness. How now, Oswald, have you that letter I writ my sister?
Aye, madam.
Take you some company and away to horse. Inform her full of my particular fear, and thereto add such reasons of your own as may compact it more. Get you gone. Hasten your return. No, no, my lord. This milky gentleness and course of yours, though I condemn not. Yet under pardon, you are much more tasked for want of wisdom than praised for harmful mildness.
How far your eyes may pierce, I cannot tell. Striving to better, oft we mar what's well.
Nay, then.
Well, well, the event.
Go you before to Gloucester with these letters. Acquaint my daughter Regan no further with anything you know than comes from her demand out of this letter. If your diligence be not speedy, I shall be there before you.
I will not sleep, my lord, till I have delivered your letters.
If a man's brains were in his heels, were it not in danger of kibes.
Aye, boy.
Then I prithee be merry. Thy wit shall not go slipshod. Shalt see, thy other daughter will treat thee kindly. For though she's as like this as a crab's like an apple, yet I can tell what I can tell.
What canst tell, boy?
She will taste as like this as a crab does to a crab. Canst tell why one's nose stands in the middle one's face?
No.
Why to keep one's eyes on either side's nose? That what a man may not smell out, he may spy into.
I did her wrong.
Canst tell why an oyster has a shell?
No.
Nor I neither. But I can tell why a snail has a house.
Why?
Well, it puts head in. Not to give it away to his daughters and leave his horns without a case.
I will forget my nature. So kind father. Be my horses ready?
Thy asses are gone about him. The reason why the 7 stars are no more than 7 is a pretty reason.
Because they are not 8.
Yes, indeed. Thou wouldst make a good fool.
To take it again, perforce. Monster ingratitude.
If thou wert my fool, uncle, I'd have thee beaten for being old before thy time.
How's that?
Thou shouldst not have been old till thou hadst been wise.
Oh, let me not be mad. Not mad. Sweet heaven, keep me in temper. I would not be mad. Now, the horse is ready.
Ready, my lord.
Come, boy.
She that's a maid now and laughs at my departure will not be a maid long unless things be cut shorter.
Save the Karen.
Oh, and you, sir, I have been with your father and given him notice that the Duke of Cornwall and Regan, his Duchess, will be here with him this night.
How comes that?
Nay, I know not. You have heard of the news abroad. I mean, the whispered ones, for they're yet but ear-kissing arguments.
Not I, pray you. What are they?
Have you heard of no likely wars twixt the Dukes of Cornwall and Albany?
Not a word.
You may do then in time. Oh, fare you well, sir.
Brother, a word, descend, brother, I say! The Duke be here tonight, the better best. This weaves itself perforce into my business. My father hath set guard to take my brother, and I have one thing of a queasy question, which I must act, briefness and fortune work. My father watches. Oh, sir, fly this place. Intelligence is given where you're hid. You have now the good advantage of the night. Have you not spoken against the Duke of Cornwall? He's coming hither, either night, hither haste, and Regan with him. Have you nothing set upon his part against the Duke of Albany? Advise yourself!
Sure, not a word.
Pardon me, I hear my father coming in. Cunning, I must draw my sword upon you. Draw, seem to defend yourself. Now quit you, yield! Come before my father! Light ho here, fly, brother! Gorgeous, so farewell! Some blood drawn on me would beget up in my more fierce endeavor. I've seen drunkards do more than this in sport. Father! Stop! No help!
Oh, Edmund, where is the villain?
He has stood here in the dark, his sharp sword out, mumbling of wicked charms, conjuring the moon to stand auspicious mistress.
But where is he?
Look, sir, I bleed.
Edmund, where is the villain?
Fled this way, sir, and by no means...
Show him. Go after! By no means what?
Persuade me to the murder of your lordship. But that I told him the revenging gods against parricides did all the thunder bend. Spoke with how manifold and strong a bond the child was bound to the father. Sir, in fine, seeing how loathly opposite I stood to his unnatural purpose, in fell motion with his prepared sword, he charges home my unprovided body, latched mine arm, and when he saw my best alarmed spirits, bold in the quarrel's right, roused to the encounter full suddenly he fled.
Let him fly far. Not in this land shall he remain uncaught and found dispatch. The noble Duke, my master, my worthy arch and patron, comes tonight. By his authority I will proclaim it, that he which finds him shall deserve our thanks, bringing the murderous coward to the stake. He that conceals him, death.
When I dissuaded him of his intent and found him pight to do it with cursed speech, I threatened to discover him. He replied, thou unpossessing bastard, dost thou think if I would stand against thee with the reposal of any trust, virtue, or worth in thee make thy words faith? No! What I should deny, as this I would, though thou didst produce my very character, I turn it all to thy suggestion, plot, and damned practice.
Would he deny his letter, said he? Oh, strange and fastened villain. I never got him! All ports I'll bar, the villain shall not scape, and of my land, loyal and natural boy, I'll work the means to make thee capable.
How now, my noble friend? Since I came hither, which I can call but now, I've heard strange news.
If it be true, all vengeance comes too short, which can pursue the offender. How dost, my lord?
Oh, madam, my old heart is cracked. It's cracked.
What? Did my father's godson seek your life? He whom my father named your Edgar.
Lady, shame would have it hid.
Was he not companion with the riotous knights attended upon my father?
I know not, madam. 'Tis too bad. Too bad.
Aye, madam, he was of that consort.
No marvel then, though he were ill affected. 'Twas they who put him on the old man's death to have the expense and waste of his revenues. I have this present evening from my sister been well informed of them, and with such caution that if they come to sojourn at my house, I'll not be there.
Nor I, assure thee, Regan. Edmund, I hear that you have shown your father a childlike office.
It was my duty, sir.
He did bewray his practice and receive this hurt you see, striving to apprehend him.
Is he pursued?
Aye, my good lord.
If he be taken, he shall never more be feared of doing harm. Make your own purpose how in my strength you please. For you, Edmund, whose virtue and obedience doth this instant so much commend itself, you shall be ours. Natures of such deep trust we shall much need. You we first seize on.
I shall serve you, sir, truly, however else.
For him I thank your grace.
You know not why we came to visit you.
Thus out of season, threading dark-eyed night. Occasions, noble Gloucester, of some prize, wherein we must have use of your advice. Our father, he hath writ, so hath our sister, of differences, which I best thought it fit to answer from our home. The several messengers from hence attend dispatch. Our good old friend, lay comforts to your bosom, and bestow your needful counsel to our businesses, which crave the instant use.
I serve you, madam. Your graces are right welcome.
Good dawning to thee, friend. Art of this house? Aye. Where may we set our horses? Near the mire. Prithee, if thou lovest me, tell me. I love thee not. Why, then I care not for thee. I had thee in Lipsbury pinfold, I'd make thee care for me. Why dost thou use me thus? I know thee not. Fellow, I know thee. Well, what dost thou know me for? A knave, a rascal, an eater of broken meats, a base, proud, shallow, beggarly, three-suited, 100-pound, filthy, worsted, stocking knave, lily-livered, action-taking, whore-son, glass-gazing, super-serviceable, finical rogue, one-trunk inheriting slave, one that wouldst be abhorred in the way of good service, but art nothing but the composition of knave, beggar, coward, pander, and the son and heir of a mongrel bitch. One that I will beat into clamorous whining if thou deniest the least syllable of thy addition. Why? What a monstrous fellow art thou thus to rail on one that is neither known of thee nor knows thee? What a brazen-faced varlet art thou to say thou knowst me not? Is it 2 days ago since I tripped up thy heels and beat thee before the king? Draw, you rogue. Although it be night, yet the moon shines. I'll make a sup of the moonshine of you, you whoreson, cullionry, barbamonger. Draw! Away! I'll have nothing to do with it! Draw, you rascal! You come with letters against the king and take Vanity the puppet's part against the royalty of her father? Draw, you ruler, I'll so carve another you shank! Draw, you rascal! Draw! How now, what's the matter? Draw, you goodman boy! Come on out, please. Come on, young master!
Weapons, arms, what's the matter here? Keep peace upon your lives! He dies that strikes again. What is the matter? What is your difference? Speak.
I'm scarce in breath, my lord. No marvel you have so bestirred your valor, you cowardly rascal. Nature disclaims in thee, a tailor made thee.
Thou art a strange fellow. A tailor make a man?
A tailor, sir. A stone cutter or a painter could not have made him so ill, though they had been but 2 hours in the trade.
Speak yet. How grew your quarrel?
This ancient ruffian, sir, whose life I have spared, it suited his gray hair. Well, whoreson there, thou unnecessary letter. My lord, if you will give me leave, I will tread this unbolted villain into mortar and dog the walls of an outhouse with him. Spare my gray hairs, you wagtail.
Peace, sirrah. Know you no reverence?
Yes, sir, but anger hath a privilege.
Why art thou angry?
That such a slave as this should wear a sword who wears no honesty. Such smiling rogues as these, like rats, oft bite the holy cords a twain, knowing naught like dogs but fault. A plague upon your epileptic music! Swell you my speeches as I were a fool, you goose! And I had you upon Sarum Plain, I'd drive you cackling home to Camelot.
What, art thou mad, old fellow?
No contraries hold more antipathy than I, and such a knave.
Why dost thou call him knave? What is his fault?
His countenance likes me not.
No more perchance does mine, or his, or hers.
Sir, it is my occupation to be plain. I have seen better faces in my time than stand on any shoulders I see before me at this instant.
This is some fellow who, having been praised for bluntness, doth affect a saucy roughness and constrains the garb quite from his nature. He cannot flatter, he, an honest mind and plain, he must speak truth, and they will take it so, if not he's plain. These kind of knaves I know, which in this plainness harbor more craft and more corrupter ends than 20 silly ducking observants that stretch their duties nicely.
Sir, in good faith and sincere verity, under the lance of your great aspect, whose influence like the wreath of rage and fire on flickering Phoebus.
What mean'st by this?
To go out of my dialect which you discommend so much. I know, sir, I'm no flatterer. He that beguiled you in a plain accent was a plain knave, which for my part I will not be, though I should win your displeasure to entreat me to it.
What was the offense you gave him?
I never gave him any. It pleased the king, his master, very late to strike at me upon his misconstruction. When he, compact and flattering the king's displeasure, tripped me behind, being down, insulted, railed, and put upon me such a deal of man that worthied him, got praises of the king, and in the fleshment of this dread exploit, drew on me here again. None of these rogues and cowards, but Ajax is their fool.
Fetch forth the stocks. You stubborn ancient knave! You reverent braggart! We'll teach you.
Sir, I'm too old to learn. Call not your stocks for me. I serve the king, on whose employment I was sent to you. You shall do small respect. Show too bold malice to the great son person of my master, stocking his messenger.
Fetch forth the stocks! As I have life and honor, there shall he sit till noon.
Till noon, till night, my lord, and all night, too.
Why, madam, if I were your father's dog, you would not use me thus.
Sir, being his knave, I will.
This is a fellow of the self-same color our sister speaks of. Come, bring away the stocks.
Let me beseech your grace not to do so. His fault is much, and the good king, his master, will check him for it. Your purposed low correction is such as basest and contemnedst wretches for pilferings and most common trespasses are punished with. The king, his master, needs must take it ill, that he so slightly valued in his messenger should have him thus restrained.
I'll answer that.
My sister, to have a gentleman abused, assaulted for following her affairs, put in his leg.
I am sorry for thee, friend. 'Tis the Duke's pleasure, whose disposition all the world well knows will not be robbed nor stopped. I'll entreat for thee.
Pray do not, sir. I watched and traveled hard. Sometime I'll sleep out, the rest I'll whistle. Goodsman fortune may grow out at heels. Give you good morrow.
The Duke's to blame in this. 'Twill be ill taken.
Good king, that must approve the common saw. Thou out of heaven's benediction comes to the warm sun. Approach thou, beacon, to this underglobe, that by thy comfortable beams I may peruse this letter. Nothing almost sees miracles but misery. I know 'tis from Cordelia, who hath been informed of my obscured course, and shall find time in this enormous state, seeking to give losses their remedies. All weary and all watched. Take vantage, heavy eyes, not to behold this shameful lodging. Fortune, good night. Smile once more, turn thy wheel.
I heard myself proclaimed, and by the happy hollow of a tree escaped the hunt. No port is free, no place that guard, and most unusual vigilance does not attend my taking. Whilst I may escape, I will preserve myself and be thought to take the basest and most poorest shape that ever penury and contempt of man brought near to beast. My face I'll grime with filth, blanket my loins, elf all my hairs in knots, and with presented nakedness outface the winds and persecutions of the sky. The country gives me proof and precedent of bedlam beggars who with roaring voices, sometimes with lunatic bands, sometimes with prayers, enforce their charity. Poor Turligard, poor Tom, that's something yet. Edgar, I nothing am.
Strange that they should so depart from home and not send back my messenger.
As I learned the night before, there was no purpose in them of this remove.
Hail to thee, noble master.
Ha! Makes thou this shame thy pastime?
No, my lord.
He wears cruel garters. Horses are tied by the heads, dogs and bears by the neck, monkeys by the loins, and men by the legs. When a man is over lusty at legs, then he wears wooden nether stocks.
What's he that hath so much thy place mistook to set thee here?
It is both he and she, your son and daughter.
No.
Yes.
No, I say.
I say yea.
No, no. They would not.
Yes, they have.
By Jupiter, I swear no!
By Juno, I swear aye.
They did not do it. They could not, would not do it. Resolve which way thou mightst deserve, or thou impose this usage coming from us.
My lord, When at their home I did commend your highness letters to them. Ere I was risen from the place that showed my duty kneeling, comes there a reeking post, stewed in his haste, half breathless, panning forth to Goneril his mistress' salutations, delivered letters, spite of intermission, which presently they read, on whose contents they summoned up their menial, straight took horse, commanded me to follow and attend the leisure of their answer, gave me cold looks. And meeting here the other messenger, whose welcome I perceived had poisoned mine, being that very fellow which of late displayed so saucily against your highness, having more man than wit about me, drew. He raised the house with loud and coward cries. Your son and daughter found this trespass worth the shame which here it suffers.
Winter's not gone yet if the wild geese fly that way. But for all that, thou shalt have as many dollars for thy daughters as thou canst tell in a year.
How this mother swells up toward my heart. Hysterica passio. Down, thou climbing sorrow, thy elements below. Where is this daughter?
With the Earl, sir, here within.
Follow me not. Stay here!
Made you no more offense than what you speak of?
None. How chance the king comes with so small a number?
Now it's been said in the stocks for that question, thou's well deserved it.
Why, fool?
We'll set thee to school to an ant, to teach thee there's no laboring in the winter. All that follow their noses are led by their eyes, but blind men. There's not a nose among 20 but can smell him that's stinking. Let go thy hold when a great wheel runs downhill, lest it break thy neck with following. But the great one that goes upward, oh, let him draw thee after. When a wise man gives thee better counsel, give me mine again. I would have none but knaves follow it, since a fool gives it. That, sir, which serves and seeks for gain and follows but for form, will pack when it begins to rain and leave thee in the storm. But I will follow, the fool will stay, and let the wise man fly. The knave turns fool that runs away, the fool no knave. Pretty.
Where learned you this, fool?
Not in the stocks, fool.
Deny to speak with me when they are sick, they are weary, they have traveled all the night. Mere fetches. Fetch me a better answer.
My dear lord, you know the fiery quality of the Duke, how unremovable and fixed he is in his own course.
Vengeance, plague, death, confusion. Fiery, what quality? Why, Gloucester. Gloucester. I would speak with the Duke of Cornwall and his wife.
Well, my good lord, I have informed them so.
Informed them? Dost understand me, man?
Aye, my good lord.
The king would speak with Cornwall. The dear father would with his daughter speak. Commands, then service. Are they informed of this? My breath and blood. Fiery. The fiery Duke. Tell the hot Duke. Death on my stake. Why should he sit here? Give me my servant forth. Go. Tell the Duke and his wife I'd speak with him. Now! Presently! Bid them come forth and hear me. Or at the chamber door, I'll beat the drum till it cries sleep to death!
I would have all well betwixt you.
My heart. My rising heart put down.
Cry to it, Nuncle. As the cockney did to the eels when she put him in the pastel eye. Oh, she napped him o'er the coxcombs with a stick and cried, down, wantons, down. 'Twas her brother that in pure kindness to his horse buttered his hay.
Good morrow to you both.
Hail to your grace.
I am glad to see your highness.
Regan, I think you are. I know what reason I have to think so. If thou shouldst not be glad, I'd divorce me from thy mother's tomb, sepulchring an adulteress. Beloved Regan, thy sister's naught. Oh, Regan, she hath tied sharp-toothed unkindness, like a vulture here. I can scarce speak to thee. Thou'lt not believe with how depraved a quality. Ah, Regan.
I pray you, sir, take patience. I have hope you less know how to value her desert than she to scant her duty.
Say, how's that?
I cannot think my sister in the least would fail her obligation. If, sir, perchance she have restrained the riots of your followers, 'tis on such ground and to such wholesome end as clears her from all blame.
My curse is on her.
Oh, sir, you are old. Nature in you stands on the very verge of its confine. You should be ruled and led by some discretion that discerns your state better than you yourself. Therefore, I pray you that to our sister you do make return. Say you have wronged her.
Ask her forgiveness. Do you but mark how this becomes the house? Dear daughter, I confess that I am old. Age is unnecessary. On my knees, I beg that you'll vouchsafe me raiment, bed, and food.
Good sir, no more. These are unsightly tricks. Return you to my sister.
Never, Regan. She hath abated me of half my train, struck me with her tongue, most serpent-like upon the very heart. All the stored vengeances of heaven fall on her ingrateful top, strike our young bones, infectious airs with lameness. You nimble lightnings dart your blinding flames into her scornful eyes. Infect her beauty, you fen-sucked fogs, drawn by the powerful sun of fall and blister.
Oh, the blessed gods. So you will wish on me when the rash mood is on.
No, Regan, thou shalt never have my curse. Thy tender-hefted nature shall not give thee o'er to harshness. 'Tis not in thee to grudge my pleasures, to cut off my train, to bandy hasty words, to scant my sizes, and in conclusion to oppose the bolt against my coming in. Thou better knowest the offices of nature, bond of childhood, effects of courtesy, dues of gratitude. Thy half the kingdom hast thou not forgot, wherein I thee endowed.
Good sir, to the purpose.
Who put my man in the stocks?
What trumpet's that?
I know it. My sister disapproves her letter that she would soon be here. Is your lady come?
Aye, madam. This is a slave whose easy borrowed pride dwells in the fickle grace of her he follows out.
What means your grace?
Who stalked my servant? Regan, I have good hope thou didst not know on. Who comes here? Oh, heavens! If you do love old men, if your sweet sway allow obedience, if you yourselves are old, make it your cause. Send down and take my part. Art not ashamed to look upon this beard. Oh, Regan, would you take her by the hand?
Why not by the hand, sir? How have I offended? All's not offense that indiscretion finds and dotage terms, sir.
Oh, besides, you are too tough. But you get old. Take my man in the stock.
I set him there, sir, but his own disorders deserved much less advancement.
You! Did you?
I pray you, father, being weak, seem so. If, till the expiration of your month, you do return and sojourn with my sister, dismissing half your train, come then to me. I am now from home, and out of that provision which shall be needful for your entertainment.
Return to her, and 50 men dismissed? No. Rather, I abjure all roofs, and choose to wage against the enmity of the air, to be a comrade with the wolf, and howl necessity's sharp pinch return to her. Aye, the hot-blooded France, the dowerless, took our youngest born. I could as well be brought to knee his throne and squire-like pension beg to keep base life afoot. Return with her. Persuade me rather to be slave and sumpter to this detested groom.
At your choice, sir.
I prithee, daughter, do not make me mad. I'll not trouble thee, my child. Farewell. We'll no more meet, no more see one another. But yet thou art my flesh, my blood, my daughter. or rather a disease that's in my flesh, which I must needs call mine. Thou art a boil, a plague sore, or embossed carbuncle in my corrupted blood, but I'll not check thee. Men, when thou canst, be better at thy leisure. I can be patient. I can stay with Regan. I and my 100 knights.
But altogether so. I look not for you yet, nor am provided for your fit welcome. Good sir, give ear to my sister. For those that mingle reason with your passion must be content to think you old, and so. But she knows what she does.
Is this well spoken?
What, 50 followers, is it not well? What should you need of more? Yea, or so many, since that both charge and danger speak against so great a number. How in one house should many people under 2 commands hold amity? 'Tis hard, almost impossible.
Why might not you, my lord, receive attendance from those that she calls servants or from mine?
Why not, my lord? If then they chanced to slack you, we could control them. If you will come to me, for now I spy a danger, I will entreat you to bring but 5 and 20. To no more will I give place or notice.
I gave you all.
And in good time you gave it.
Made you my guardians, my depositaries, but kept a reservation to be followed with such a number. What? Must I come to you with 5 and 20, Regan? Said you so?
And speak it again, my lord, no more with me.
Oh, those wicked creatures yet do look well favored when others are more wicked. Not being the worst stands in some rank of praise. I'll go with thee. Thy 50 getteth double 5 and 20, and thou art twice her love.
Hear me, my lord. What need you 5 and 20, 10 or 5, to follow in a house where twice so many have a command to tend you?
What need 1?
Oh, reason not the need. Our basest beggars are in the poorest thing, superfluous. Allow not nature more than nature needs. Man's life is cheap as beasts. Thou art a lady, if only to go warm were gorgeous. Why, nature needs not what thou gorgeous wearest, which scarcely keeps thee warm, but fortuny. You haven't. Give me that patience I need. You see me here, you gods, a poor old man, as full of grief as age, wretched in both. If it be you that stirs these daughters' hearts against their father, fool me not so much to bear it tamely. Touch me with noble anger, and let not women's weapons, water drops, stain my man's cheeks. No! You unnatural hag! I will have such revenges on you both that all the world shall. I will do such things. What they are, yet I know not, but they shall be the terrors of the earth. You think I'll weep? No, I'll not weep. I have full cause of weeping, but this heart shall break into 100,000 flaws, or ere I'll weep. Oh, fool, I shall go mad.
The king is in high rage. Whither is he going? He calls to horse, but will I know not whither.
It's best to give him way. He leads himself.
My lord, entreat him by no means to stay.
Alack, the night comes on, and the high winds do sorely ruffle. For many miles about, there's scarce a bush.
Oh, sir, to willful men, the injuries that they themselves procure must be their schoolmasters. Shut up your doors. He is attended with a desperate train, and what they may incense him to, being apt to have his ear abused. Wisdom bids, fear
Shut up your doors, my lord. It's a wild night. My Regan counsels well. Come out of the storm.
Blow, winds, and crack your cheeks. Rage, blow, you cataracts and hurricanes. Spout till you have drenched our steeples round the cocks. You sulphurous and thought-executing fires, for couriers of oak-cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head. And thou, all shaking thunder, strike flat the thick rotundity of the world. Crack nature's molds, all germane, spirit once that makes ingrateful man.
Edgar! Court, holy water in a dry house is better than rainwater out of doors. Good knuckle in. Ask my daughter's blessing. Here's a night pities neither wise man nor fool.
Rumble, thy belly full. Spit fire, spout rain. Nor rain, wind, thunder, fire, my daughters. I tax you not, you elements with unkindness. I never gave you kingdom, called you children. You owe me no subscription. Then let fall your horrible pleasure. Here I stand, your slave, a poor, infirm, weak, and despised old man. But yet I call you servile ministers that will with two pernicious daughters join your high-engendered battles against a head so old and white as this. Ho-ho, this fowl!
He that has a house to put his head in has a good headpiece. The codpiece that will house, before the head has any, the head and he will louse. So beggars marry many. The man that makes his toe what he his heart should make will of a corn cry woe and turn his sleep to wake. But there was never yet fair woman, but she made mouths in a glass.
I will be the pattern of all patience. I will say nothing.
Who's there? Hey! Here's grace in a codpiece! But the wise man and a fool!
Since I was man, such sheets of fire, such bursts of horrid thunder I never remember to have heard. Man's nature cannot bear the affliction nor the fear.
Let the great gods that keep this dreadful putter o'er our heads find out their enemies now. Ah, tremble, thou wretch, that hast within thee undefaulted crimes, unwhipped of justice. Hide thee, thou bloody hand, thou perjured and thou simulard of virtue that art incestuous. Caitiff to pieces shake, that under covert and convenient seeming has practiced on man's life. Close pent-up guilts rive your concealing countenance and cry these dreadful sumner's grace. I am a man, more sinned against than sinning.
Gracious my lord, hard by here is a hovel. Some friendship will it lend you against the tempest. Repose you there, while I to this hard house return and force their scanted courtesy.
My wits begin to turn. Come on, my boy. How does my boy? I'm cold. Oh, I'm cold myself. What is this straw, my fellow? Oh, the art of our necessities is strange and can make vile things precious. Come, your hovel. Oh, what fool and knave. I have one part in my heart that's sorry yet for thee.
He that has in a little tiny wit, with the hey-ho, the wind and the rain, must make content with his fortunes fit, for the rain it raineth every day.
Bring us to this hovel.
Alack, Edmund. I like not this unnatural dealing. When I desired their leave that I might pity him, they took from me the use of mine own house, charged me on pain of perpetual displeasure, neither to speak of him, entreat for him, or any way sustain him.
Most savage and unnatural.
Go to, say you nothing. There is division between the dukes, and a worse matter than that. I have received a letter this night. 'Tis dangerous to be spoken. I have locked the letter in my closet. These injuries the king now bears will be revenged at home. There is part of a power already footed. We must incline to the king. I will go, look for him, and privily relieve him. Go you, and maintain talk with the duke, that my charity be not of him perceived. If he ask for me, I am ill, and gone to bed. If I die for it, as no less has threatened me, the king, my old master, must be relieved. There is strange things toward Edmund. Pray you, be careful.
This courtesy forbid thee, shall the Duke instantly know, and of that letter too. This seems a fair deserving, and must draw me that which my father loses, no less than all. The younger rises when the old doth fall.
Here is the place, my lord. Good my lord, enter here. The tyranny of the open night's too rough for nature to endure.
Let me alone.
Good my lord, enter here.
It will break my heart.
I would rather break my own. Good my lord, enter.
Thou thinkst 'tis much that this contentious storm invades us to the skin? So 'tis to thee. But where that greater malady is fixed, the lesser is scarce felt. Thou'lt shun a bear, but if thy flight lay toward the roaring sea, thou'lt meet to bury the teeth. When the mind's free, the body's delicate. The tempest in my mind, that from my senses take all feelings else save what beats there, filial ingratitude. Is it not as this mouth should tear this hand for lifting food to it? But I will punish home. No, I will weep no more in such a night to shut me out. For on I will endure in such a night as this. Oh, Regan, Goneril, your old kind father, whose frank heart gave all. That way madness lies. Let me shun that. No more of that.
Good my lord, enter here.
I prithee, go in thyself, seek thine own ease. This tempest will not give me leave to ponder on things will hurt me more. But I'll go in. In, boy, go first. Ah! You houseless poverty, nay, get thee in. I'll pray, then I'll sleep. Poor, naked wretches, wheresoe'er you are, that by the pelting of this pitiless storm, how shall your houseless heads and unfed sides, your looped and winded raggedness, defend you from seasons such as these? Oh, I have ta'en too little care of this. Take physic pomp, expose thyself to feel what wretches feel, that thou mayst shake the superflux to them and show the heavens more just.
Away! The foul fiend follows me. Through the sharp hawthorn blow the winds. Go to thy bed and warm thee.
Didst thou give all to thy daughters, not thou come to this?
Who gives anything to poor Tom, whom the foul fiend hath led through fire and through flame, through ford and whirlpool, or bog and quagmire? That hath laid knives under his pillow and halters in his pew, set ratsbane by his porridge, made him proud of heart to ride on the bay trotting horse over 4-inch bridges, to course his own saddle for a traitor. Bless thy 5 wits. Tom's a cold. Oh, bless thee from whirlwinds, star blasting and taking. Poor Tom, some charity whom the foul fiend vexes. There could I have him now, and there again, and there.
As his daughters brought him to this pass, couldst thou save nothing? Wouldst thou give him all?
Nay, he reserved a blanket, else we'd all been shaved.
Now, all the plagues that in the pendulous air hang faded o'er men's false light on thy daughters.
He hath no daughter, sir.
Death, traitor, nothing could have subdued nature to such a lowness but his unkind daughters. Is it the fashion that discarded fathers should have thus little mercy on their flesh? Ah, judicious punishment. 'Twas this flesh begot those pelican daughters.
Pillicock sat on Pillicock Hill! Allow!
This cold night will turn us all to fools and madmen.
Take heed of the foul fiend. Keep thy words, justice. Swear not. Commit not with man's sworn spouse. Set not thy sweetheart on proud array. Tom's a cold.
What hast thou been?
A serving man, proud in heart and mind,
curled my hair, wore gloves in my cap, served the lust of my mistress' heart, and did the act of darkness with her. Swore as many oaths as I spake words, and broke them in the sweet face of heaven. One that slept in the contriving of lust and waked to do it. Wine loved I deeply, dice dearly, and in woman out-paramored the Turk. False of heart, light of ear, bloody of hand, hog in sloth, fox in stealth, wolf in greediness, dog in madness, lion in prey. Let not the creaking of shoes nor the rustling of silks betray thy poor heart to woman. Keep thy foot out of brothels, thy hand out of plackets, thy pen out of lenders' books, and defy the foul fiend. Still, through the hawthorn blows the wind, says some man, nonny. Dolphin, my boy, sister, let him trot by.
Thou wert better in a grave than to answer with thy uncovered body this extremity of the skies. Is man no more than this? Consider him well. Thou owest the worm no silk, the beast no hide, the sheep no wool, the cat no perfume. Ah, here are three of us are sophisticated. Thou art the thing itself. Unaccommodated man is no more but such a poor, bare, forked animal as thou art. Off, you lendings, come, unbutton
Pity,
here.
uncle, be contented. 'Tis a naughty night to swim in. Now a little fire in a wild field where I get an old lecher's heart, a small spark, all the rest on's body cold. Look! Here comes a walking fire.
This is the foul flippity-gibbet. He begins at curfew and walks till the first cock. He gives the weapon the pin, squints the eye and makes the hare lip, mildews the white wheat and hurts the poor creatures of the earth. Smith-holds for did thrice the old. He met the nightmare into ninefold, bid her a light, and troth her plight. And anoint thee, witch! Anoint thee!
How fares your grace? What's he? Who's there? What is it you seek?
What are you there? Your names?
Poor Tom that eats the swimming frog, the toad, the tadpole, the wall-newt and the water, that in the fury of his heart, when the foul fiend rages, eats cow dung for salads, swallows the old rat and the ditch dog, drinks the green mantle of the standing pool, who is whipped from tithing to tithing, and stock punished and imprisoned, who has had 3 suits to his back, 6 shirts to his body, horse to ride and weapon to wear, but mice and rats and such small deer have been Tom's food for 7 long years. Beware, my follower. Peace, Malkin. Peace, thou fiend.
What? Hath your grace no better company?
The Prince of Darkness is a gentleman. Modo he's called, and Mahu.
Our flesh and blood, my lord, is grown so vile that it doth hate what gets it.
Tom's a cold.
Go in with me. My duty cannot suffer to obey in all your daughter's hard commands. Though their injunction be to bar my doors and let this tyrannous night take hold upon you, yet have I ventured to come seek you out and bring you where both fire and food is ready.
First, let me talk with this philosopher. What is the cause of thunder?
Good my lord, take his offer, go into the house.
Talk a word with the same learned Theban. What is your study?
How to prevent the fiend and to kill vermin.
Let me ask you one word.
Importune him once more to go, my lord, his wits begin to unsettle.
Canst thou blame him? His daughter seek his death. Oh, that good Kent, poor banished man, he said it would be thus. Thou sayest the king grows mad. I'll tell thee, friend, I'm almost mad myself. I had a son, now outlawed from my blood. He sought my life. But lately, friend, very lately, I loved him. No father, his son dearer. Truth to tell thee, the grief hath crazed my wits. Oh, what a night's this. I do beseech your grace.
Oh, cry you mercy, sir. Noble philosopher, your company.
Tom's a cold.
In, fellow, there, into the hovel. Keep thee warm.
Come, let's in all.
This way, my lord.
With him, I will keep still with my philosopher.
My lord, soothe him. Let him take the fellow.
Take him, you want.
Sirrah, come on. Go along with us.
Come, good Athenian.
No words, no words.
Hush. Child Roland to the dark tower came. His word was still fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a Britishman.
I will have my revenge ere I depart his house.
How, my lord, I may be censured that nature thus gives way to loyalty. Something fears me to think of.
I now perceive it was not altogether your brother's evil disposition made him seek his death, but a provoking merit set at work by a reprovable badness in himself.
How malicious is my fortune that I must repent to be just. This is the letter which is spoke of, which approves him an intelligent party to the advantages of France. Oh, heavens, that this treason were not, or not I, the detector.
Go with me to the Duchess.
If the matter of this paper be certain, you have mighty business in hand.
True or false, it hath made thee Earl of Gloucester. Seek out where thy father is, that he may be ready for our apprehension.
I will persevere in my course of loyalty, though the conflict be sore between that and my blood.
I will lay trust upon thee. Thou shalt find a dearer father in my love.
Here is better than the open air. Take it thankfully. I will piece out the comfort with what addition I can. I will not be long from you.
All the power of his wits have given way to his impatience. The gods reward your kindness.
Frateretto calls me and tells me Nero is an angler in the lake of darkness. Pray, innocent, and beware the foul fiend.
Prithee, uncle, tell me whether a madman be a gentleman or a yeoman.
A king.
No, he's a yeoman that has a gentleman to his son, for he's a mad yeoman that sees his son a gentleman before him.
To have 1,000 red burning spits come singing upon them.
The foul fiend bites my back. He's mad that trusts in the tameness of a wolf, a horse's health, a boy's love, or a whore's oath.
It shall be done. I will arraign them straight. Come, sit thou here. Most learned justice, sapient sir, sit here. Now, you she-foxes.
Look where he stands and glares. Wantest thou eyes at trial, madam? Come aboard, Bessie, to me. Her boat hath a leak. She must not speak. Why, she dare not come over to thee. The foul fiend haunts poor Tom in the voice of a nightingale. Oh, hop dance cries in Tom's belly for 2 white herring.
Croak not, black angel. I have no food for thee.
How do you, sir? Stand you not so amazed. Will you lie down and rest upon the cushions?
I'll see that trial first. Go, bring in the evidence. Come, thou, robed man of justice, take thy place. And thou, his yoke fellow of equity, bench by his side. No, you are the commission. Sit you too.
Let us deal justly. Sleepest or wakest thou, jolly shepherd? Thy sheep be in the corn, and for one blast of thy minikin mouth, thy sheep shall take no harm. Grrr. The cat is gray.
Arraign her first, his Goneril. I take my oath before this honorable assembly. Kick the poor king, her father.
Come you hither, mistress. Is your name Goneril?
She cannot deny it.
By your mercy, I took you for a joint stool.
And here's another whose warped looks proclaim what store her heart is set on. Ah! Stop her there. Arms, sword, fire, corruption in the place. False justice, sir. Why hast thou let us escape?
Bless thy 5 wits.
Oh, sir, where is that patience now you so oft have boasted to retain?
My tears begin to take his part so much they mar my counterfeiting.
The little dogs and all. Tray, Blanche, sweetheart. See, they bark at me.
Tom will throw his head at them. Avaunt you curs, be thy mouth or black or white, tooth that poisons if it bite, mastiff, greyhound, mongrel grim, hound or spaniel, brock or limb, or bobtail tyke or trundle tail. Tom will make them weep and wail, for with throwing thus my head, dogs leap the hatch and all are fled. Do, dee, dee, dee. Sister, come, march to wakes and fairs and market towns. Poor Tom, thy horn is dry.
Then let them anatomize Regan. See what breeds about her heart. Is there any cause in nature that makes these hard hearts? You, sir, I entertain for one of my 100, only I do not like the fashion of your garments. You will say they are Persian, but let them be changed.
Good, my lord. Lie here and rest a while.
Make no noise. Make no noise. Draw the curtains. So, we'll go to supper in the morning.
And I'll go to bed at noon.
Come hither, friend. Where is the king, my master?
Yes, sir, but trouble him not. His wits are gone.
Good friend, I prithee, take him in thy arms. I have o'erheard a plot of death upon him. There is a litter ready. Lay him in and drive toward Dover, friend, where thou shalt meet both welcome and protection. Take up thy master. If thou shouldst dally half an hour his life with thine, and all that offer to defend him stand in assured loss. Take up and follow me, that will to some provision give thee quick conduct.
Oppressive nature sleeps. This rest might yet have balmed thy broken sinews, which if convenience will not allow, stand in hard cure. Come, help to bear thy master. Thou must not stay behind.
Come, away! When we are better see bearing our woes, we scarcely think our miseries are foes. Who alone suffers most in the mind, leaving free things and happy shows behind. But then the mind much suffering doth o'erskip, when grief hath mates and bearing fellowship. How light and portable my pain seems now, when that which makes me bend makes the king bow. He childed as I fathered. Tom, away. What will hap more tonight? Safe 'scape the king. Lurk. Post speedily to my lord your husband. Show him this letter. The army of France has landed. Seek out the traitor, Gloucester.
Hang him instantly.
Pluck out his eyes.
Leave him to my displeasure. Edmund, keep you our sister company. The revenges we are bound to take upon your traitorous father are not fit for your beholding. Our posts shall be swift and intelligent betwixt us. Farewell, dear sister. Farewell, my lord of Gloucester. And now, where's the king?
My lord of Gloucester hath conveyed him hence. Some 5 or 6 and 30 of his knights are gone with him to Dover, where they boast to have well-armed friends.
Get horses for your mistress.
Farewell, sweet lord. And sister?
Edmund, farewell. Go, seek the traitor Gloucester. Pinion him like a thief. Bring him before us. Though well we may not pass upon his life without the form of justice, yet our power shall do a curtsy to our wrath, which men may blame but not control. Who's there? The traitor?
Ingrateful fox, 'tis he.
Bind fast his courtier.
What means your graces? Good my friends, consider you are my guests. Do me no foul play, friends.
Bind him, I say.
Horde! Filthy traitor.
Unmerciful lady as you are, I'm none.
Villain, thou shalt find.
By the kind gods, 'tis most ignobly done to pluck me by the beard.
So white, such a traitor.
Naughty lady, these hairs which thou dost ravish from my chin will quicken and accuse thee. With robbers' hands, my hospitable favors you should not ruffle thus. What will you do?
Come, sir, what letters had you late from France?
Be simple answered, for we know the truth.
And what confederacy have you with the traitors late-footed in the kingdom?
To whose hands you have sent the lunatic king? Speak.
I have a letter guessingly set down that came from one that's of a neutral heart and not from one opposed.
Cunning.
And false.
Where hast thou sent the king?
To Dover.
Wherefore to Dover wast thou not charged at peril?
Wherefore to Dover? Let him answer that.
I am tied to the stake.
and I must stand the course.
Wherefore to Dover?
Because I would not see your cruel nails pluck out his poor old eyes, nor thy fierce sister in his anointed flesh stick boorish fangs. The sea with such a storm as his bare head in hell-black night endured would have buoyed up and quenched the stellar fires. Yet, poor old heart, he hoped the heavens to rain. If wolves had at thy gate howled that stern time, thou shouldst have said, good porter, turn the key, all cruels else subscribe. Oh, but I shall see the winged vengeance overtake such children.
See it? Shalt thou never? Fellows, hold him there. Upon these eyes of thine, I'll set my mark.
He that will think to live till he be old, give me some help. Ah, cruel you go. Ah, ah.
One side will mark another. The other two.
If you see vengeance...
my lord! I have served you ever since I was a child. But better service have I never done you than now to bid you hold.
How now, you dog?
If you did wear a beard upon your chin, I'll shake it on this quarrel. What do you mean?
My villain!
Nathan, come on and take the chance of anger.
A peasant, stand up!
Ah, I'm slain! Ah! My lord, you're when I left to see some mischief on him.
Lest it see more?
Prevent it! Out, vile jelly!
Where's thy luster now?
Edmund, enkindle all the sparks of nature to avenge this horrid act.
Out, treacherous villain! Thou callest on him that hates thee. It was he that made the overture of thy treason to us, who is too good to pity thee.
Oh, my follies. And Edgar was abused. Kind gods, forgive me that, and prosper him.
Girls, thrust him out at gates, and let him smell his way to Dover. How is with you, my lord? How look you?
I've received a hurt. Follow me, lady. Turn out that eyeless villain. Throw this slave upon the dunghill. Regan, I bleed apace. Untimely comes this hurt. Give me your arm.
Yet better thus, and known to be condemned and still condemned and flattered, to be worst, the lowest and most dejected thing of fortune stands still in esperance, lives not in fear. The lamentable change is from the best. The worst returns to laughter. Welcome, then, thou unsubstantial air that I embrace. The wretch that thou hast blown unto the worst owes nothing to thy blasts. But who comes here?
My father poorly led. World, world, O world, but that thy strange mutations make us hate thee, life would not yield to age.
Oh, my good lord, I have been your tenant and your father's tenant these 80 years.
Away. Get thee away, good friend, begone. Thy comforts can do me no good at all, thee they may hurt.
I cannot see a way.
I have no way, and therefore want no eyes. I stumbled when I saw. Full oft 'tis seen our means secure us, and our mere defects prove our commodities. Oh, dear son Edgar, the food of thy abused father's wrath. Might I but live to see thee in my touch, I'd say I had eyes again.
How now, who's there?
Oh, gods, who is can say I am at the worst? I am worse than e'er I was.
'Tis poor Mad Tom.
And worse I may be yet, the worst is not, so long as we can say this is the worst.
Fellow, where going?
Is it a beggar man?
Madman and beggar too.
He has some reason, else he could not beg. In the last night's storm, I such a fellow saw, which made me think a man a worm. My son came then into my mind, and yet my mind was then scarce friends with him. I have heard more since. As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods. They kill us for their sport.
How should this be? Bad is the trade that must play fool to sorrow, angering itself and others.
Bless thee, master.
Is that the naked fellow?
I, my lord.
Oh, then prithee, get thee gone. If for my sake thou wilt take us hence a mile or twain in the way toward Dover, do it for ancient love, and bring some covering for this naked soul which I'll entreat to lead me.
Alack, sir, he is mad.
'Tis the time's play when madmen lead the blind. Do as I bid thee, or rather do thy pleasure. Above the rest, be gone.
I'll bring him the best pearl I have. Come on it what will.
Sirrah! Naked fellow!
Poor Tom's the cold. I cannot daub it further.
Come hither, fellow!
And yet I must.
Bless thy sweet eyes. They bleed.
Knowst thou the way to Dover?
Both stile and gate, horseway and footpath. Poor Tom hath been scared out of his 5 wits. 5 fiends have been in poor Tom at once. Of lust, as Obidicut, Hobbididence, Prince of Dumbness, Mahu of stealing, Modo of murder, Flibbity-gibbet of moping and mowing, who since possesses chambermaids and waiting women. So bless thee, master.
Here, take this purse. Thou whom the heaven's plagues have humbled to all strokes, that I am wretched makes thee the happier. Heavens deal so still. Let the superfluous and lust-dieted man that slaves your ordinance, that will not see because he does not feel your power quickly. So distribution should undo excess, and each man have enough. Dost thou know Dover?
Aye, master.
There is a cliff, whose high and bending head looks fearfully in the confined deep. Bring me but to the very brim of it, and I'll repair the misery thou dost bear with something rich about me. From that place I shall no leading need.
Give me thy arm. Poor Tom shall lead thee.
Welcome, my lord. I marvel our mild husband not met us on the way. Now, where's your master?
Madam, within, but never man so changed. I told him of the army that was landed. He smiled at it. I told him you were coming. His answer was the worse. Of Gloucester's treachery and of the loyal service of his son. When I informed him, then he called me sot and told me I had turned the wrong side out. What most he should dislike seems pleasant to him. What like offensive.
Then shall you go no further. It is the cowish terror of his spirit that dares not undertake. He'll not feel wrongs which tie him to an answer. Back, Edmund, to my brother. Hasten his musters and conduct his powers. I must change names at home and give the distaff into my husband's hands. This trusty servant shall pass between us. Ere long, you are like to hear, if you dare venture in your own behalf, a mistress's command. Wear this. Spare speech. Decline your head. This kiss, if it durst speak, would stretch thy spirits up into the air. Conceive and fare thee well.
Yours in the ranks of death.
Oh, my most dear Gloucester. Oh, the difference of man and man. To thee a woman's services are due. My fool usurps my body.
Madam, here comes my lord.
I have been worth the whistle.
Goneril, you are not worth the dust which the rude wind blows in your face.
I fear your disposition. That nature which contemns its origin cannot be boarded certain in itself. She that herself will sliver and disbranch from her material sap,
perforce must wither and come to deadly use.
No more, the text is foolish.
Wisdom and goodness to the vile seem vile. Filth savor but themselves. What have you done? Tigers, not daughters, what have you performed? A father and a gracious aged man whose reverence even the headlong bear would lick. Most barbarous, most degenerate, have you maddened? Could my good brother suffer you to do it? A man, a prince, by him so benefited. If that the heavens do not their visible spirits send quickly down to tame these vile offenses, it will come. Humanity must perforce prey on itself like monsters of the deep.
Milk-livered man that bearest a cheek for blows, a head for wrongs, who has not in thy brow an eye discerning thine honor from thy suffering, that not knowest fools do those villains pity who are punished ere they have done their mischief. Where's thy drum? France spreads his banners in our noiseless land. With plumed helm thy state begins to threat, whilst thou, a moral fool, sits still and cries, alack, why does it so?
Fear thyself, devil! Proper deformity shows not the fiend so horrid is in woman.
O vain fool!
Thou changed and self-covered thing, for shame be monster, not thy feature! Where's my fitness to let these hands obey my blood? They're apt enough to dislocate and tear thy flesh and bones. Howe'er thou art a fiend, a woman's shape doth shield thee.
Marry your manhood.
What news?
Oh, my good lord, the Duke of Cornwall's dead, slain by a servant, going to put out the other of Gloucester.
Gloucester's eyes?
A servant that he bred, thrilled with remorse, opposed against the act. Bending his sword to his great master, who thereat in rage flew on him, and amongst them felled him dead, but not without that harmful stroke which since hath plucked him after.
This shows you are above you justices, that these are never crimes so speedily convenge. But oh, poor Gloucester, lost he his other eye?
Both, my lord. This letter, madam, craves a speedy answer. 'Tis from your sister.
One way I like this well. But being widow and my Edmund with her, may all the building in my fancy pluck upon my hateful life. Another way the news is not so tart. I'll read and answer.
Where was his son when they did take his eyes?
Come with your lady, hither.
He is not here.
No, my good lord, I met him back again.
Knows he this wickedness?
Aye, my good lord. 'Twas he informed against him, and quit the house on purpose that their punishment might have the freer course.
Gloucester, I live to thank thee for the love thou showest the king, and to revenge thine eyes. Come hither, friend. Tell me what more thou knowest.
Why has the King of France so suddenly gone back?
Something he left imperfect in the state, and his personal return was most required and necessary.
Did my letters pierce the Queen to any demonstration of grief?
Aye, sir. She took them, read them in my presence, and now and then an ample tear trilled down her delicate cheek. It seemed she was a queen over her passion, who most rebel-like sought to be king o'er her.
Made she no verbal question?
Faith. Once or twice she heaved the name of father pantingly forth, as if it pressed her heart. Cried, sisters, sisters, shame of ladies, sisters. And then away she started to deal with grief alone.
It is the stars above us govern our condition, else oneself mate and mate could not beget such different issues. Well, sir, the poor distressed Lears of the town, and by no means will yield to see his daughter.
Why, good sir?
His own unkindness that turned her to foreign casualties gave her dear rights to his dog-hearted daughters. These things sting his mind so venomously.
Alack, poor gentleman.
Well, sir, I'll take you to our master Lear and leave you to attend him. Some dear cause must in concealment wrap me up a while.
Alack, 'tis he. Why, he was met even now, as mad as the vexed sea, singing aloud, crowned with rank furmeter and furrow weeds, with hardocks, hemlocks, nettles, cuckoo flowers, darnel, and all the idle weeds that grow in our sustaining corn. A century send forth, search every acre of our high-grown field, and bring him to our eye. What can man's wisdom in the restoring his bereaved sense? He that helps him take all my outward worth.
There is means, madam. Our foster nurse of nature is repose, the which he lacks. That to provoke in him are many simples operative, whose power will close the eye of anguish.
All blessed secrets. All you unpublished virtues of the earth, spring with my tears. Be aidant and remediate in the good man's distress. Seek for him, lest his ungoverned rage dissolve the life that wants the means to lead it.
News, madam. The British powers are marching hitherward.
'Tis known before. Our preparation stands in expectation of them. Oh, my dear father, it is thy business that I go about. No blown ambition doth our arms incite, but love, dear love, in our aged father's right. Soon may I hear and see him.
But are my brother's powers set forth?
Aye, madam.
Himself in person there?
Madam, with much ado. Your sister is the better soldier.
Lord Edmund spake not with your lord at home.
No, madam.
What might import my sister's letter to him?
I know not, lady.
Faith, he is posted hence on serious matter. It was great ignorance, Gloucester's eyes being out to let him live. Where he arrives, he moves all hearts against us. Edmund, I think, is gone in pity of his misery to dispatch his knighted life. Moreover, to descry the strength of the enemy.
Madam, I must needs after him with my letter.
Our troops set forth tomorrow. Stay with us. The ways are dangerous.
I may not. My lady charged my duty in this business.
Why should she write to Edmund? Might not you transport her purposes by word? Belike some things, I know not what. I love thee much. Let me unseal the letter.
I had rather...
I know your lady does not love her husband, I am sure of that. And at her late being here, she gave strange glances and most speaking looks to noble Edmund. I know you are of her bosom.
Aye, madam?
I speak in understanding you are. I know it, therefore I do advise you take this note. My lord is dead. Edmund and I have talked, and more convenient is he for my hand than for your lady's. You may gather more. If you do find him, pray you, give him this. And when my sister learns thus much of you, pray desire her, call her wisdom to her. So fare you well. If you do chance to hear of that blind traitor, preferment falls on him that cuts him off.
Would I could meet him, madam. I would show which party I do follow.
When shall I come to the top of that same hill? You do climb up it now. Look how we labor. Methinks the ground is even. Horrible steep. Hark, do you hear the sea? No, truly.
Why, then your other senses grow imperfect by your eyes' anguish.
So may it be indeed. Methinks thy voice is altered, and thou speakst in better phrase and matter than thou didst.
You're much deceived. In nothing am I changed but in my garments.
Methinks you're better spoken.
Come on, sir. Here's the place.
Stand still.
Oh, how fearful and dizzy 'tis to cast one's eyes so low. The crows and choughs that wing the midway air show scarce so gross as beetles. Halfway down hangs one that gathers sampier. Dreadful trade. Methinks he seems no bigger than his head. The fishermen that walk upon the beach appear like mice, and yon tall anchoring bark diminished to her cock a boy, almost too small for sight. Oh, I'll look no more, lest my brain turn and the deficient sight topple me down headlong.
Set me where you stand.
Give me your hand. Ha. You are now within a foot of the extreme verge. For all beneath the moon would I not leap upright.
Let go my hand. Here, friends, another purse. In it a jewel well worth a poor man's taking. Fairies and gods prosper it with thee. Go thou further off, bid me farewell, and let me hear thee going.
Now, fare ye well, good sir.
With all my heart.
Why I do trifle thus with his despair is done to cure it.
Oh, you mighty gods. This world I do renounce, and in your sight shake patiently my great affliction off. If I could bear it longer, and not fall to quarrel with your great opposeless wills, my snuff and loathed part of nature should burn itself out. If Edgar live, oh, bless him. Now, friend, fare thee well.
Gone, sir. Farewell.
And yet I know not how conceit may rob the treasury of life when life itself yields to the theft. Had he been where he thought, by this had thought been past. Alive or dead?
Ho you, sir! Friend! Hear you, sir! Speak!
Thus might he pass indeed. Yet he revives.
What are you, sir?
Away and let me die.
Hadst thou been aught but gossamer, feathers, air, so many fathom down precipitating, thou'dst shivered like an egg. But thou dost breathe, hast heavy substance, bleedst not, speakst, art sound. 10 masts at each mark not the altitude which thou hast perpendicularly fell. Thy life's a miracle. Speak yet again.
But have I fallen or no?
Oh, from the dread summit of this chalky bourne. Look up a height. The shrill gorged lark so far cannot be seen nor heard. Do but look up.
Alack, I have no eyes. Is wretchedness deprived that benefit to end itself by death? 'Twas yet some comfort when misery could beguile the tyrant's rage and frustrate his proud will.
Oh, give me your arm. Up. So. How is't with you? Feel you your legs? You stand.
Too well. Too well.
This is above all strangeness. Upon the crown of the cliff, what thing was that which parted from you?
A poor unfortunate beggar.
As I stood here below, methought his eyes were 2 full moons. He had 1,000 noses, horns whelked and waved like the enrigid sea. It was some fiend. Therefore, thou happy father, think that the clearest gods that make them honors of men's impossibilities have preserved thee.
I do remember now. Henceforth I'll bear affliction till it to cry out itself, enough, enough, and die. That thing you speak of, I took it for a man. Often 'twould say, the fiend, the fiend. He led me to that place.
Bear free and patient thoughts.
But who comes here? The safer sense will ne'er accommodate his master thus.
No. They cannot touch me for coining. I am the king himself.
Oh, thou side-piercing sight.
Nature's above art in that respect. There's your press money. This fellow handles his bow like a crow keeper. Draw me a clothier's yard. Come. Look, look, a mouse. Peace, peace. This piece of toasted cheese will do it. There's my gauntlet. I'll prove it on a giant. Bring up the brown bills. Well flown, bird, in the cloud, in the cloud. Give the word.
Sweet marjoram.
Pass.
I know that voice.
Goneril with a white beard. They flattered me like a dog. They told me I had the white hairs in my beard, ere the black ones were there to say aye and no to everything that I said. Aye and no to was no good divinity. When the rains came to wet me once, and the wind to make me chatter, when the thunder would not peace at my bidding, there I found them, there I smelt them out. Go to, they are not men of their words. They told me I was everything. 'Tis a lie. I am not ague-proof.
The trick of that voice, I do well remember, is not the king.
Aye, every inch a king. When I do stare, see how the subject quakes. I pardon that man's life. What was thy cause? Adultery? Oh, thou shalt not die. Die for adultery? No. The wren goes to it, and the small gilded fly does lecher in my sight. Let copulation thrive. For Gloucester's bastard son was kinder to his father than my daughters got between the lawful sheets. To it, luxury, pell-mell, for I lacked soldiers. Behold, yon simpering dame, whose face between her forks presages snow, that minces virtue and does shake the head to hear of pleasure's name. The fichu nor the soiled horse goes to it with a more riotous appetite. Down from the waist they are centaurs, the women all above, but to the girdle do the gods inherit. Beneath is all the fiends. Ooh, there is hell, there is darkness, there is a sulphurous pit, burning, scalding, stench, consumption. Fie. Yuck, yuck. Give me an ounce of civet, good apothecary. Sweeten my imagination. There's money for thee.
Oh, let me kiss that hand.
Let me wipe it first. It smells of mortality.
Oh, ruined peace of nature. This great world shall so wear out to naught. Dost thou know me?
Remember thine eyes well enough. Dost thou squinny at me? No. Do thy worst, blind Cupid. I'll not love. Read thou this challenge. Mark but the penning of it.
Were all thy letters sons, I could not see.
I would not take this from report. It is, and my heart breaks at it.
Read.
What, with the case of eyes?
Oh! Are you there with me? No eyes in your head, no money in your purse. Your eyes are in a heavy case. Your purse in a light. Yet you see how this world goes.
Ah, I see it feelingly.
What? Art mad? A man may see how this world goes with no eyes. Look with thine ears. See how yon justice rails upon yon simple thief. Hark in thine ear. Change places and handy-dandy. Which is the justice? Which is the thief? Thou hast seen the farmer's dog bark at a beggar.
Aye, sir.
And the creature run from the cur. There mightst thou behold the great image of authority, a dog's obeyed in office. Oh, thou rascal beetle, hold thy bloody hand. Why didst thou lash that whore? Strip thine own back, thou hotly lust to usurer in that kind for which thou whipst her. The usurer hangs the cozener. Through tattered clothes, small vices do appear. Robes and furred gowns hide all. Plate sin with gold. The strong lance of justice hurtless breaks. Arm it in rags, a pygmy's straw does pierce it. None does offend. None. I say none. I'll able them. Take that of me, my friend, who have the power to seal the accuser's lips. Get thee glass eyes, and like the scurvy politician, seem to see the things thou dost not. Pull off my boots. Harder, harder. So.
Oh, matter and impertinency mixed, reason in madness.
If thou wilt weet my fortunes, take my eyes. Oh, I know thee well enough. Thy name is Gloucester. Thou must be patient. We came crying hither. Thou knowest, when first we smell the air, we wail and cry. I will preach to thee, mark.
Alack, alack the day.
When we are born, we cry that we are come to this great stage of fools. It's a good block. There's a delicate stratagem to shoe a troop of horse with felt. I'll put in proof, and when I've stolen upon these son-in-laws, then kill.
Sir, you're most in.
What? No rescue. What a prisoner. I am even the natural fool of fortune. Use me well. You shall have ransom. Let me have surgeons. I'm cut to the brain.
You shall have anything.
What? No seconds, all myself? This would make a man of salt. To use his eyes for garden water pots, aye, and laying autumn's dust. What? I will die bravely, like the smug bridegroom. What? I will be jovial. Come. I'm a king. Masters, know you that?
You are a royal one, and we obey you.
Woo! Then there's life in it. Come. And you get it. You shall get it by running. Sa.
Hail, gentle sir. Sir, speak you what's your will. Do you hear aught, sir, of the battle toward? Most sure and vulgar, everyone hears that which can distinguish sound. But by your favor, how near is the other army? Near and on speedy foot, the main descries stands on the hourly thought. I thank you, sir, that's all.
You ever gentle gods, take my breath from me. Let not my worser spirit tempt me again to die before you please.
Well, pray you, father.
Now, sir, what are you?
A most poor man, made tame to fortune's blows, who by the art of known and feeling sorrows am pregnant to good pity. Give me your hand. I'll lead you to some biding.
Hearty thanks. The bounty and the benison of heaven to boot and boot.
Proclaim it prize, most happy. That eyeless head of thine was first framed flesh to raise my fortune. Thou old unhappy traitor, briefly thyself remember, the sword is out that must destroy thee.
Now let thy friendly hand put strength enough to it.
Wherefore, bold peasant, darest thou support a published traitor? Hence, lest that the infection of his fortune take like hold on thee, let go his arm.
Shall not let go, sir, without further occasion.
Let go, slave, and I'll die.
Good gentlemen, go your gait and let poor Volk pass. And could have been swaggered out of my life, 'twould not have been so long as 'tis by a fortnight. Now, come not near the old man. Keep out, Savoya, or I try with the York custard, or my bowel be the harder. She'll be plain with you. She'll pick your teeth, sir, no matter for your foin.
Slay me! Villain, take my purse. Remember thou wilt thrive. Bury my body and give the letters which thou find'st about me to Edmund, Earl of Gloucester. Seek him out upon the English party.
I know thee well. A serviceable villain is duteous to the vices of thy mistress's badness would desire.
What, is he dead?
Sit you down, father, rest you. The letter that he speaks of may be my friend. Let us see. He's dead. I'm only sorry he had no other deathsman. Leave gentle wax and manners. Blame us not to know our enemies' minds. We rip their hearts. Their papers is more lawful. Let our reciprocal vows be remembered. If your will want not, time and place will be fruitfully offered. There is nothing done. If he return the conqueror, then am I the prisoner, and his bed my jail. From the loathed warmth whereof deliver me, your wife, so I would say, affectionate servant, Goneril. Oh, in distinguished space of woman's will, a plot against her virtuous husband's life, and the exchange, my brother. Here in the sands, thee I'll rake up the post unsanctified of murderous lechers, and in the mature time, with this ungracious paper, strike the sight of the death-practiced duke. For him 'tis well, that of thy death and business I can tell.
The king is mad. How stiff is my vile sense that I stand up and have ingenious feeling of my huge sorrows. Better I were distract, so should my thoughts be severed from my griefs, and woes by wrong imaginations lose the knowledge of themselves.
Give me your hand. Far off methinks I hear the beaten drum. Come, father, I'll bestow you with a friend.
Oh, thou good Kent, how shall I live and work to match thy goodness? My life shall be too short and every measure fail me.
To be acknowledged, madam, is o'erpaid.
Well, be better suited. These weeds are memories of those worser hours. I prithee put them off.
Pardon, dear madam. Yet to be known shortens my made intent. My boon I make it that you know me not till time and I think meet.
Then be it so, my good lord. How does the king?
Madam, sleep still.
O ye kind gods, cure this great breach in his abused nature. The untuned and jarring senses, wind up in this child-changed father.
So please your majesty that we may wake the king. He hath slept long.
Be governed by your knowledge and proceed in the sway of thine own will. Is he arrayed?
Aye, madam. In the heaviness of sleep, we put fresh garments on him.
Be by, good madam, when we do awake him. I doubt not of his temperance.
Very well.
Please you draw near. Louder the music there.
Oh, my dear father. Restoration, hang thy medicine on my lips, and let this kiss repair those violent harms that my two sisters have in thy reverence made. Had you not been there, father, these white flakes did challenge pity of them. Was this a face to be opposed against the jarring winds? To stand against the deep dread bolted thunder and the terrible and nimble stroke of quick cross lightning to watch? Poor Pellew, with this thin helm. Mine enemy's dog, though he had bit me, should have stood that night against my fire. And wast thou fain, poor father, to hovel? Thee with swine and rogues forlorn and short and musty straw, alack, alack, 'tis wonder that thy life and wits at once had not concluded all. He wakes. Speak to him.
Madam, do you. 'Tis fittest.
How does my royal lord? How fares your majesty?
You do me wrong to take me out of the grave. Thou art a soul in bliss, but I am bound upon a wheel of fire that mine own tears do scald like molten lead.
Sir, do you know me?
You are a spirit. I know. Where did you die?
Still far wide.
He's scarce awake. Let him alone a while.
Where have I been? Where am I? Fair daylight. Oh, I am mightily abused. I should e'en die with pity to see another thus. I know not what to say. I will not swear these are my hands. Would I were assured of my condition.
Oh, look upon me, sir, and hold your hand in benediction o'er me. You must not kneel.
I pray. I am a very foolish, fond old man, 80 and upward, not an hour more nor less, and to deal plainly, I fear I am not in my perfect mind. Methinks I should know you and know this man, yet I am doubtful, for I am mainly ignorant what place this is, and all the skill I have remembers not these garments, nor I know not where I did lodge last night. Do not laugh at me, for as I am a man, I think this lady to be my child, Cordelia.
I am.
Will your tears wet? Yes, Faith. I pray, weep not. If you have poison for me, I will drink it. I know you do not love me, for your sisters have, as I do remember, done me wrong. You have some cause, they have not.
No cause. No cause.
Am I in France?
In your own kingdom, sir.
Oh, do not abuse me.
Be comforted, good madam. The great rage you see is killed in him. And yet, it is danger to make him even o'er the time he has lost. Desire him to go in. Trouble him no more to further settling.
Will it please your highness walk?
You must bear with me. I pray you now, forget and forgive. I am old and foolish.
It's time to look about. The powers of the kingdom approach apace.
The argument is like to be bloody. Fare you well, sir.
My point and period will be truly wrought, or well or ill, as this day's battles fought.
Nor of Albany, if his last purpose hold, or whether since his advice by ought to change his course, he's full of alteration and self-reproving, bring his constant pleasure.
Our sister's man is certainly miscarried.
'Tis to be doubted, madam.
Now, my sweet lord, you know the goodness I intend upon you. Tell me but truly, but then speak the truth. Do you not love my sister?
In honored love.
But have you never found my brother's way to the forfended place?
That thought abuses you.
I am fearful that you have been conjunct and bosomed with her as far as we call hers.
No, by mine honor, madam.
I shall never endure her. Oh, dear my lord, be not familiar with her.
Fear me not. She and the Duke, her husband.
I had rather lose the battle than that sister should loosen him and me.
Our very loving sister, well we met. Sir, this I heard. The king is come to Cordelia with others whom the rigor of our state forced to cry out. But I could not be honest. I never yet was valiant. For this business, it touches us as France invades our land. Not bold the king with others whom I fear have just and heavy causes to oppose us.
Sir, you speak nobly.
Why is this reason?
Combine together against the enemy, for these domestic and particular broils are not the question here.
Then determine with the ancient of war on our proceedings.
Sister, you'll go with us?
No.
It is most convenient. Pray you, go with us.
Oh, I know the riddle. I will go.
If e'er your grace had speech with man so poor, hear me one word.
I will overtake you. Speak.
Before you fight the battle, ope this letter. If you have victory, let the trumpet sound for him that brought it. Wretched though I seem, I can produce a champion that will prove what is avouched there. Fortune love you.
Stay till I have read your letter.
I was forbid it. When time shall serve, let but the herald cry, and I'll appear again.
I fare thee well. I will o'erlook thy paper.
The enemy's in view, drop your powers. Here's the guess of their true strength and forces by diligent discovery, but your haste is now urged on you.
We will greet the time.
To both these sisters have I sworn my love. Each jealous of the other as the stung out of the adder. Which one shall I take? Both? One? Or neither? Neither can be enjoyed if both remain alive. To take the widow exasperates, makes mad her sister Goneril. And hardly shall I carry out my side, her husband being alive. Now then, we'll use his countenance for the battle, which being done, let her who would be rid of him devise his speedy taking off. As for the mercy which he intends to Lear and to Cordelia, the battle done, and they within our power shall never see his part. For my state stands on me to defend, not to debate.
Here, Father, take the shadow of this tree for your good host. Pray that the right may thrive. Whenever I return to you again, I'll bring you comfort.
Grace go with you, sir.
Away, old man! Give me your hand away!
King Lear hath lost, he and his daughter ta'en. Give me your hand, come on.
No further, sir. A man may rot even here.
What in ill thoughts again? Men must endure their going hence, even as they're coming hither. Rightness is all. Come on.
And that's true, too.
Some officers take them away, good guard, till their greater pleasures first be known that are to censure them.
We are not the first who with the best meaning have incurred the worst. For thee, oppressed king, I am cast down. Myself could else outfrown false fortune's frowns. Shall we not see these daughters and these sisters?
No, 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 no. Come, let's away to prison. We two alone shall sing like birds in the cage. When thou dost ask me blessing, I'll kneel down and ask of thee forgiveness. And so we'll live and pray and sing and tell old tales and laugh at gilded butterflies and hear poor rogues talk of court news. And we'll talk with them too. Who loses and who wins, who's in, who's out, and take upon us the mystery of things as if we were God's spies. And we'll wear out in a walled prison pacts and sects of great ones that ebb and flow by the moon.
Take them away!
Upon such sacrifices, my dear Cordelia, the gods themselves throw incense. Have I caught thee? He that parts us shall bring a brand from heaven and fire us hence like foxfires. Wipe thine eyes. The good years shall devour them flesh and fell. They shall make us weep. We'll see them starved first. Come.
Come hither, Captain, hark. Take thou this note, go follow them to prison. One step I have advanced thee. If thou dost as this instructs thee, thou dost make thy way to noble fortunes. Know thou this, that men are as the time is. To be tender-minded does not become a sword. Thy great employment will not bear question. Either say thou'lt do it or thrive by other means.
I'll do it, my lord.
About it, and right happily when thou hast done. Mark, I say instantly, and carry it so as I have set it down.
I cannot draw a cart, nor eat dried oats. If it be man's work, I'll do it.
Sir, you have showed today your valiant strain, and fortune led you well. You have the captives who were the opposites of this day's strife. I do require them of you.
Sir, they're ready tomorrow at furthest pace to appear, where you shall hold your session. At this time we sweat and bleed, the friend hath lost his friend, and the best quarrels in the heat are cursed by those that feel their sharpness. The question of Cordelia and her father requires a fitter place.
Sir, by your patience, I hold you but a subject of this war, not as a brother.
That's as we list to grace him. Methinks our pleasure might have been demanded ere you had spoke so far. He led our powers bore the commission of my place and person, the which immediacy may well stand up and call itself your brother.
Not so hot! In his own grace he doth exalt himself more than in your addition.
In my rights, by me invested, he compeers the best.
That were the most if he should husband you.
Jesters do often prove prophets.
That I that told you so looked but a squint.
Lady, I am not well, else I would answer from a full-flowing stomach. General, take thou my soldiers, prisoners, patrimony, dispose of them, of me, the walls is thine. Witness the world that I create thee here, my lord and master.
Mean you to enjoy him?
But let alone, Lord, not in your goodwill.
Nor in thine, lord.
Half-blooded fellow, yes.
Let the drum strike and prove my title thine.
Stay yet. Hear reason. Edmund, I arrest thee on capital treason, and in thy attaint this gilded serpent. For your claim, fair sister, I bar it in the interest of my wife. 'Tis she is subcontracted to this lord, and I, her husband, contradict your bans. If you will marry, make your loves to me, my lady is bespoke.
Ha! An interlude.
Thou art armed, Gloucester. Let the trumpet sound. If none appear to prove upon thy person thy heinous, manifest, and many treason, there is my pledge. I make it on thy heart ere I taste bread. Thou art in nothing less than I have here proclaimed thee.
Sick. Oh, sick.
If not, I'll ne'er trust medicine.
There's my exchange. What in the world hears that names me traitor, villain like he lies? Call by the trumpet. He that dares approach, on him, on you, who not, I'll maintain my truth and honor firmly.
A herald ho.
A herald ho! A herald!
My sickness grows up.
She is not well. Convey her to my tent. Come hither, herald. Let the trumpet sound and read out this.
Trumpet sound. If any man of quality or degree within the list of the army will maintain upon Edmund, supposed Earl of Gloucester, that he is a manifold traitor, let him appear by the third sound of the trumpet. He is bold in his defense.
Sound.
Again. Again.
Ask him his purposes, why he appears upon this call of the trumpet.
Your name, sir, your quality, and why you answer this present summons.
No, my name is lost. By treason's tooth, bare gnawn, and canker bit. Yet am I noble as the adversary I come to cope.
Which is that adversary?
What's he that speaks for Edmund, Earl of Gloucester?
Himself, what sayest thou to him?
Thou art a traitor, false to thy gods, thy brother and thy father, conspirant against this high illustrious prince, and from the extremest upward of thy head to the descent and dust below thy foot, a most toad-spotted traitor. Say thou no, this arm and my best spirits are bent to prove against thy heart whereto I speak thou liest.
Back, do I toss these treasons to thy head, with the hell-hated lie o'erwhelm thy heart, which for they yet glance and scarcely bruise, this arm of mine shall give them instant way, where they shall rest forever. Trumpet, speak!
Shut your mouth, gamer. With this paper will I stop it. Hold, sir! Thou worse than any name, read thine own evils. No tearing, lady, I perceive you know it.
Say if I do, the laws are mine, not thine. Who can arraign me for it?
Most monstrous, so knowest thou this paper?
Ask me not what I know.
She is desperate. Go after her, governor.
What you have charged me with, that I have done and more. Much more. The time will bring it out. 'Tis past, and so am I. But what art thou that hast this fortune on me?
My name is Edgar, and thy father's son.
The gods are just, and of our pleasant vices make instruments to plague us. The dark and vicious place where thee he got cost him his eyes.
Thou hast spoken right. 'Tis true. The wheel is come full circle. I am here.
Let sorrow split my heart if ever I did hate thee or thy father.
Worthy prince, I know it.
Where have you hid yourself? How have you known of the miseries of your father?
By nursing them, my lord. Met I my father with his bleeding rings, their precious stones new lost. Became his guide, led him, begged for him, saved him from despair. Never, O fault, revealed myself unto him until some half hour past, when I was armed. Not sure, though hoping of this good success, I asked his blessing, and from first to last told him our pilgrimage. But his flawed heart, alack, too weak the conflict to support twixt two extremes of passion, joy and grief, burst smilingly.
This speech of yours hath moved me, and shall perchance do good.
Help! Help! Oh, help!
Speak, man.
What means this bloody knife?
There's hot smokes. Came even from the heart. Oh, she's dead.
Who's dead? Speak, man.
Your lady, sir, your lady. And her sister by her is poisoned. She confesses it. I was contracted to them both. All three now marry in an instant.
This judgment of the heavens that makes us tremble touches us not with pity.
I am come to bid my king and master aye good night. Is he not here?
Great thing of us forgot. Speak, Edmund. Where's the king and where's Cordelia?
Yet Edmund was beloved, the one the other poisoned for my sake, and after slew herself. I pant for life. Some good I mean to do, despite of mine own nature. Quickly send, be briefing it to the castle, for my writ is on the life of Lear and on Cordelia. Take my sword, give it the captain.
Run, no run!
Hasty for the life! He hath commissioned from thy wife and me to hang Cordelia in the prison and to lay the blame upon her own despair, that she fordid herself.
The gods defend her. Bear him hence a while.
Howl. 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 You are men of stones. Had I your tongues and eyes, I'd use them so that heaven's vault would crack. Oh, she's gone forever. I know when one is dead and when one lives. She's dead as earth. Lend me a looking glass. If that her breath will mist or stain the stone wherein she lives.
Is this the promised end?
This feather stirs, she lives. If it be so, it is a chance that does redeem all sorrows that ever I have felt.
Oh, my good master.
Prithee, away. A plague upon you, murderers, traitors all. I might have saved her. Now she's gone forever. Cordelia. Cordelia, stay a little. Huh? What is thou sayest? Her voice was ever soft, gentle, and low, an excellent thing in woman. I killed the slave that was a-hanging thee.
'Tis true, my lords, he did.
Did I not so, fellow? I've seen the day. With my good biting falchion, I could have made them skip. I'm old now, and these same crosses spoil me. Who are you? My eyes are not of the best, I'll tell you straight.
If fortune bragged of two she loved and hated, one of them we behold.
This is a dull sight. Are you not Kent?
The same.
Your servant, Kent. Where is your servant, Caius? He's a good fellow, I'll tell you that. He would strike, and quickly, too. He's dead and rotten.
No, my lord, I am the very man.
I'll see that straight.
That from your first of difference and decay have followed your sad steps.
You're welcome hither.
No man else. All's cheerless, dark and deadly. Your eldest daughters have fordone themselves and desperately are dead.
Aye, so I think.
You lords and noble friends know our intent. What comfort to this great decay may come shall be applied. For us, we will resign during the life of this old majesty to him our absolute power. You to your rights, with boot and such addition as your virtues have more than merited. All friends shall taste the wages of... Oh, see.
And my poor fool is hanged. No life. Why should a dog, a horse, a rat have life, and thou no breath at all? Thou'lt come no more. Never. I pray you, undo this button. Thank you, sir. Do you see this? Look on her. Look, her lips. Look there. Look there.
He faints. My lord, my lord.
Break heart. I prithee, break.
Look up, my lord.
Vex not his ghost, nor let him pass. He hates him that would upon the rack of this tough world stretch him out longer.
He's gone, indeed.
The wonder is, he hath endured so long. He but usurped his life.
Our present business is general woe. Friends of my soul, you twain rule in this realm, and the gorged state sustain.
I have a journey, sir, shortly to go. My master calls me. I must not say no.
The weight of this sad time we must obey. Speak what we feel, not what we ought to say. The oldest hath borne most. We that are young shall never see so much, nor live so long.